The preliminary hearing.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays, catch us live somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. What's poppin'? What's good, y'all? What y'all doing? What y'all up to? Y'all good? Y'all good, fam? Fam, y'all good? It's Friday. Yeah. It is Friday, baby. Yeah. It's Friday. I mean, we still gonna be me. I always work. I'm working every day. I work all day. It don't matter. Okay, so even though it's Friday, I'm very looking forward to the weekend. Even though I'm gonna be working throughout the entire weekend, it just is what it is. Okay, no rest for the weary. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we got a lot of things to talk about today, and it looks like this may be the last day of this prelim. This may be the last day, guys. It may be. We will find out. There's a lot that we learned yesterday. There's more that we're going to learn from yesterday going into today, okay? So we got a lot to get into. Obviously, the trial or the preliminary hearing has already started for today, and we got a lot to talk about today. So we're gonna have to talk about some things here in just a little bit, okay? And Jane, I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna read that in a little bit, but I gotta get through all the stuff, through all the red tape first before we get into what you just posted, okay, in the chat. Now, here's the thing. Hit that like button down below. Crush a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs, man. So make sure you hit that follow button on those platforms. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe here on my main channel first. Don't forget to do that. Then go over to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Please and thank you. Subscribe over there. That'll be thankful by me. You know what I mean. Go subscribe to the second channel. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. And whenever I can get time to get in this dungeon, okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. What? Yeah, PascalMerch.com. We got a lot of great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into this. There's a lot going on. There was a lot that happened yesterday. Well, kind of. It's like there was a lot of stuff near the very, very end, and that's what they're continuing today. Medical examiner did come in yesterday. They were brought in yesterday to give us some details. And the details that we've heard so far are pretty insane and heartbreaking, to be really honest. What this man is being alleged of doing, which he did do it. Okay, this is not a question of did he do it or didn't he do it. He did it. But other than that, there's a lot, okay? There's a lot, all right? There's a lot going on with this case. Medical examiner is in there. Now we're getting some information. They're going to be deep diving into more information about what this medical examiner found while they were investigating Celeste Rivas' remains. And of course, we're going to be talking about that as well. Now, here's the thing. There was, hold on, two different things that we're going to talk about, okay? Because there's some things that happened after lunch when they went back after lunch, and there was a breakdown of everything that was going on. And of course, shout out to Lauren Conlon for her fantastic work. Hold on, let me get this. I thought I had it prepped, but I did not. I apologize. Let me just get this up and going. All right. Now, with Lauren Conlon, who's been doing fantastic work, including there's a lot of other people that have been doing really fantastic work as well. All right. But we have been getting a lot of information from her. Okay. And it's thorough. It's thorough. She's been allowed to have her laptop, which is great. So she can type out all the notes and then she can put everything together while the trial is popping. Okay. It's pretty incredible. All right. So preliminary hearing, day 3. This is during the afternoon break. Okay. So I want to give you guys this, of course, because there's been some information that we missed yesterday because we had to end early. Okay. Actually, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Whoops. Before we get into that, Jane said in a comment, I need to find it, of course. Okay. Pascal, use of a weapon outside the court about 10 minutes ago. It's all on camera. Fox News guy outside the court was reporting on it. Hey, breaking news, Pascal. Interesting. I haven't heard anything about it. So let me look at that first. Let me get that first really quick before we go into everything else. All right. A guy with a weapon found outside the courthouse of D4VD's preliminary trial. This is something very interesting. Let us see, because we got a few morning updates already, which we will get to. I am looking. I mean, so far, I don't see anything. I don't see anything about a weapon, but if you guys have it, if you guys can find that, please let me know. That would be fantastic. All right. Let me just see something here. Mark the Shark even posted just an hour ago saying that the defense team looks happy and in good spirits. I don't know why the defense team looks happy and is in good spirits due to this. I mean, I'm just being real. They ain't got nothing. Okay, maybe they're smiling because it's almost over. The beating is almost over. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But if you see what's going on, okay, Thomas Snyder, just repost it, okay? If you're asking for me to look at a comment, it's hard to scroll back while I'm doing this at the same time. Just repeat it. I'll keep an eye out. I'll try to keep an eye out for it when you repeat it again. Okay. Just send it. I'll try to keep an eye out. All right. All depending on if it's respectful. All right. I may read it out loud. So just saying that really quick. So let's get into this. Okay. I don't see anything so far about anybody, doing something crazy. And of course, I'll look into it when I get some more time, because obviously we're here to talk about what's going on with D4VD. Is it a D4VD? Is it a D4VD supporter? I don't know. But nonetheless, we are here to talk about what's going on here. All right. And see what has transpired the last half of yesterday into what we're rolling into today. So there's going to be a lot of information here, over the next couple of hours, where we'll hopefully get some more insight on what actually, what was unearthed, right? And what was exposed. So a lot of this I haven't even seen myself. Okay. It's been a bit busy morning. I've been doing a lot of coverage and other things for the Nolan Wells case and all that. So this is me reading this and getting this information to you guys and learning about it in real time with y'all too. Okay. So let's get into this. Okay. So preliminary hearing, day 3. Of note, multiple bloodstained items tested positive for DNA consistent with Celeste. We already got a dun dun dun. That's massive. Okay. A separate bag, a separate black trash bag contained DNA from 4 individuals, including 2 males, one of whom was consistent with David Burke. There's the dun dun dun. But hold on. 2 males. 2 whole males. One of them was consistent with David Berserk. So what is that? Okay. So what is that? Yeah, Thomas. Yeah, I heard about that. We did discuss it yesterday a little bit. That Beth Silverman apparently threatened a guy in court that she was going to have his badge because she was just not having it. Yeah, she is a feral animal in that courtroom. I wouldn't want to cross her. Okay, she had her sights out on SF Investigates. Another woman as well that was like live tweeting or live sending footage or something like that to people in real time over. Like, that's bad. That's all bad. So she has people keeping an eye on everybody inside that courtroom as well, which is crazy. So she was putting cases on everybody, including homeboy, and saying, yo, I will have your freaking badge. Try me again, son. I will have your freaking bag. It's crazy. Yeah, she's a feral beast. I don't want to mess with her. Okay? She cares about this case, as she should. I'd be pissed as hell. Because it's like, yo, if this was like, imagine if you had a 11 to 14-year-old child and something like this happens. Man, I'd be pissed. Okay? And everybody would feel my wrath. Anyone who got in the way of my path towards justice, they would all feel the wrath. Okay? Oh, you just collateral damage. You trying to getting in the way of me trying to get this job done correctly so we can lock this mother lover out for good? Bury him under the mother loving prison? Or you gonna feel this? I will have your badge if you're trying to cross me right now, son. I'm just saying. I don't blame her. I feel her passion. I feel it. Don't cross her. You will come back. All your limbs are gonna come back as nubs. Okay? Just take my good hand. No, it's going to be gone. Okay? So let's get into this. Let me just circle back again. 2 males were identified in this trash bag. So, dun, 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 indeed. Right? Come on now. 2 males. What does that mean? One of them was Burke, was D4VD. The second one was another male. Actually, in fact, that's very interesting. Let me read that again. A separate trash bag contained DNA from 4 individuals, including 2 males. One of them was consistent with Dookie Face, Doodoo Head, D4VD, and another male. Celeste's DNA was not detected in that bag. What was in that bag? What you got in that bag? What is going on here? 4 individuals, including 1 male, 1 unidentified male, 1 that was D4VD, and then 2 other people out of that bag, that trash bag of 4 individuals. Celeste Rivas's DNA was not detected in that bag, so she's not one of the 4. So there's 3 other individuals that we don't know of that were in that bag. Okay, let's continue on. But that's the thing. Here's the thing. This is the reason why everybody is sitting here ruminating, pontificating, debating, okay, masticating over this situation in this question that we've been wanting to know. Was there more than one person that helped him do this thing? Was it Neo? Or I like to call him Neon. Was it Neo? Was it Asia Collins? Was it Sheldon? Who could it have been? Inquiring minds would like to know. Sheldon has given me some vibes because we've never heard Sheldon's name until just recently. Okay. We haven't heard Sheldon. What is it? His last name, Jaculus or something like that? Like Dracula, something like that. It's kind of funny because if you said Sheldon prematurely ejaculate, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It kind of sounds like that. Ejaculate, premature ejaculate. Anyway, I'm 12. But here's the thing. Sheldon Jaculus, middle name premature. This is the first time I've ever heard his name. All right. First time I've heard Sheldon's name was just the other day. Okay. So I am kind of curious. He was living in there for 6 months, and then he wasn't living there anymore. Does he have something to do with this? Does he have something to do with this? Remember, 4 different individuals were not identified, but 4 different individuals' DNA was found in that black bag. And also, I got to say this too. We got to rule this out too, or we got to keep this on the table. Let's just say this. 4 individuals were found in the black bag. There's a good possibility that other friends came over. Remember, it's over time that people were coming over to his house, kicking it with him, so on and so forth. They're drinking stuff. They're throwing that stuff in a bag or in a trash bag, thinking that trash bag or that trash can is, doesn't have any contents of any murderous material. You know what I mean? They're just living their lives. Remember, a couple people were over at his house. They're live streaming, and he's sitting there going, "Oh, my bad, man. If it smells like ish in here, it's because I took a dookie with my dookie head, right? With my dookie face doo-doo head. I took a dookie. That's why it smells so bad in here, right?" They were all in there. There's still a possibility that people were in there drinking, kicking it, you know what I mean, rolling blunts, you know what I'm saying, just doing whatever, eating food, whatever, and then they throw those things in a bag, unbeknownst to them. So we still have to rule that out too. Remember, this is several months of her sitting in a car or somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight, okay, where she had been sitting festering somewhere without anybody really knowing. So there's a lot of innocent people that were probably going in and out of his house, not knowing that he had done this terrible thing to Celeste. And they're just chilling and doing their thing. They're not thinking about, I don't want to throw this in this trash bag because I don't want this to come back to me. the DNA might, come back to bite me in the ass. You see what I'm saying? So just remember that too. Either he got helped in doing this, or he either did this by himself, or he got help, and then he still used that trash bag to throw other things away in it as well. He did it by himself, used the bag, trash can, or the trash bag as trash, or he had help and they all threw that trash in there. That's the only other thing. I'm wondering what the contents of the trash was, though, because they could be like, some half-eaten pizza, some banana peels, a half-eaten yogurt. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff could be there, too. Remember that. But let's continue on. That's wild, though. Two male DNA was found in there. One of them is David Burke. Why wouldn't they tell us who the other one is? Because they know at least it's two males. They know that the other person is a male. Is that just straight up from doing DNA? Interesting. But moving on. Or it doesn't mean that they have somebody else that has been granted immunity, that knows some stuff, that has gotten their name scratched off this information. I don't know. But we'll find out soon enough, won't we? Right? Before the afternoon session, D4VD was seen smiling, nodding, and casually speaking with defense attorneys Bednarski and Burke, his defense lawyer. All right. His demeanor appeared relaxed, which is wild. It's wild. I don't know. If I was on trial for doing something like this, I'd be biting my nails. It would be nothing but nervous energy coursing through my veins. But that's just me. Detective Roker finished his direct testimony by explaining how he determined the last time D4VD's Tesla was driven. He reviewed surveillance footage, license plate reader data, and Tesla records as part of his analysis. Let me tell you something about this Tesla. Diggity damn. How could you be so dumb? In fact, I'm going to say, how could you be so dumb? But thank God you're a dumb criminal, because you bought a car that is so reliant on data and digital stuff. This ain't an analog car. It's not like he drove like a 1960 Mustang convertible that is just straight up all analog, right? Everything, every second this Tesla, it was sitting in one place or was moving around, it was documenting everything. It's one big-ass computer on wheels. In fact, it's a big-ass iPhone on wheels. This Tesla exposed his ass. That's it. Just want to say that really quick. Thank you, Jesus, for this Tesla. Okay? So, all that was part of his analysis, okay? The surveillance footage, the license plate reader data, and the Tesla. According to Roker, the Tesla was not moved or driven between approximately 2 p.m. on July 29th, 2025 and September 2025. So this guy let that sit there for several weeks when investigators recovered the actual vehicle. The day, so he stopped moving that car around on July 29th. He said, F it, I'm done. And he let it sit there for well over 5 weeks, okay? This corroborates earlier law enforcement testimony regarding the last known movements of D4VD's Tesla. Okay. Defense attorney Bednarski began cross-examining Roker, focusing on the limitations of his cellular analysis. Limitations, my balls. Moving on. Bednarski established that Roker also reviewed records related to Celeste Rivas Hernandez's phone, but did not personally examine the device for GPS data. So he confirmed his analysis was based on AT&T, T-Mobile, and Tesla IMSI records, along with timing advanced data from cell towers. So he was like, yeah, I didn't analyze her stuff. Her phone was off. Let's not forget that. He tried to call. because he had turned off that phone, and that phone was probably in his pocket on the way to doing whatever he was doing out in Santa Barbara. Let's move on, though. All right. None of his analysis relied on GPS data from the cellular carriers. Roker also confirmed he did not conduct drive testing in this case. Bednarski questioned whether the maps shown to jurors identified exact locations. Roker agreed. They did not provide precise GPS coordinates. He testified his analysis instead identifies a device's general location and estimates its distance from a cell tower, but cannot pinpoint an exact latitude or longitude. This kind of reminds me of the Brian Koberger stuff, where they're like, well, just because he was in that area, because the cell tower said he was in that area, does not mean that he was exactly at the Idaho 4 house. That doesn't mean that he was actually there, guys. He may have been in the area, but that doesn't mean he was actually right in the mother-loving house. You see what I'm saying? So now you see this same thing going on here. Just because his car was in this particular area or his phone was in this particular area by this cell tower doesn't mean he was exactly in that location. He could have been somewhere else. And it just pinged in that area. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I'm sorry. It's hard to believe that stuff. You see what I'm saying? It's like, well, we need the exact longitude and latitude to know exactly. And it's like, come on, y'all. Really? You mean to tell me that what the another killer went off and did that and he was back at home? Where else would he be? Why would he be out in that area? Does he have an alibi for those times as well? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they're really reaching. They're reaching, okay? Just to be completely real. Reaching like a mother lover, okay? So, let us continue. He testified that the Tesla data, could not show who was inside the vehicle or who was driving it, and agreed he technically could not identify the driver on the dates previously discussed. Investigators instead based their conclusion on the Tesla and cell phone data moving in tandem. So here's the thing. So you mean to tell me that he wasn't in the car, but in fact, it was somebody else who took his phone, took his car, and just drove out to these random places. They drove out to Santa Barbara 3 different separate times to do God knows what he did in that area on SR 154. You really mean to tell me he just goes, hey, take my phone. Go ahead, bruh. Take my car too. Yeah, you good. Go ahead. Have fun. And they just left for several hours at a time. 3 different times. We're not even talking about all the other times that he was like out, caught by, in his car by Ross Dress for Less or any of the other places that they caught him on surveillance, the car on surveillance. You mean to tell me the cell phone data and the Tesla data that was traveling in tandem together somewhere, right, to these various areas was not him? There's a possibility that it was not him. Okay. Bednarski pointed out that the latitude and longitude coordinates shown on Roker's exhibit differed from the coordinates provided by the California Highway Patrol officer Buen Rostro during Wednesday's testimony. The exhibit marked the location where Celeste Rivas' passport was recovered. Roker testified the 2 sets of coordinates were actually very close and was largely the same area, the same location. But she's sitting there going, well, because of the longitude and latitude coordinates that you gave and what we got from the other officer, the highway patrol officer, they're completely different places. And it's like, they're very close to each other. Like I said, she is literally trying to make this. She's literally trying to get this judge to look at this and go, oh, so we're going to look at longitude, latitude, coordinates and say, yeah, we could throw this whole case out. Prosecution ain't got enough. You can stop. You can stop. This is the best that they've got so far? Nah. I'm gonna say nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say a hell nah. You feel me? Okay. So LAPD criminalist Samantha Tosh, took the stand. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Tosh. So she testified. She has worked in the DNA unit for 18 years. Okay, so she's properly vetted. She's analyzed. She was analyzing biological evidence, including blood, semen, and saliva. Okay. She testified she developed a full DNA profile from a toenail sample collected from Celeste Rivas' remains by the medical examiner. Man, science is incredible. Science is science. Yeah, science, bitch. Anyway, moving on. She also developed a reference DNA profile from a buccal cheek swab. Okay, a buccal swab, which is basically in the cheek, obtained from Dookie Face Doodoo Head, D4VD. Silverman brings up DNA recovered from D4VD's Tesla, including bloodstains found in the trunk and lower storage compartments. Bloodstains found in the trunk and lower storage compartments found in there. She tested that one bloodstain produced a single sample female DNA that was a profile that included Celeste Rivas. She said the statistical analysis showed the profile was approximately 1 septillion times more likely to have originated from Celeste than from any other individual. Okay? Than from an unrelated individual. So it was her DNA. Duh. All right? Second blood stain recovered from the Tesla also produced a single source female DNA profile consistent with Celeste, with the same statistical conclusion. So in other words, there ain't no way this ain't Celeste Rivas. It is her 100 million times %. It is her. Tosh also analyzed a bloodstain on a black rubber mat recovered from the garage. Okay, that sample produced a partial single source female DNA profile with 15 genetic markers consistent with Celeste's DNA. I was about to say, I was like, where is this? You see what I'm saying? How did there not be blood splatter in that garage if something happened in that garage? If he dismantled her in that garage, how did there not be any red anywhere throughout the doggone mother-loving garage? Now we're starting to hear that, okay? Which is big, all right? So let us continue on. Bloodstain. Okay, so although it's only a partial profile, she testified it was approximately 20 quadrillion times more likely to have originated from Celeste than from another unrelated individual. So there is no way on God's green earth it ain't her. So she continued detailing DNA results from additional evidence recovered during the investigation. Okay, so a stain on a rowing machine produced a DNA profile consistent with Celeste Rivas. Again, rowing machine, it's her. Approximately 1 septillion times more likely to have originated from her than an unrelated individual. Guys, homeboy is cooked, okay? A stain on a charger yielded the same result. A DNA profile consistent with Celeste with the same statistical likelihood. A stain on a green tarp also matched Celeste DNA with the same 1 septillion statistical conclusion. Y'all, guys. He is broiled, okay? He is broiled into charcoal. He is well done. He is beyond well done. He is effed in the A. He is effed in the mother-loving A. Good job. Woo! So let's talk. Let's talk about this black trash bag. Recovered during the investigation, Tosh testified a swab from that trash bag contained a mixture of DNA from 4 contributors, including 2 whole males, one of them being Dookie Head Doodoo Face, okay? Dookie Face Doodoo Head D4VD, okay? One of them being him, okay? Celeste was excluded from that DNA mixture. So the question still remains, could there be another person, or could there have been other people involved in discarding her remains, or at least taking her apart, guys? Okay, this is bad. And he keeps on sitting there going, they ain't waiting. Oh, I'm innocent. No, he's not. The hell no, he ain't. He did this. He most definitely did this. All right. Tosh also testified that hand wipes with brown stains produced a single source female DNA profile consistent with Celeste. And D4VD was excluded as the contributor. But her blood stains, brown stains, were on those hand wipes. Why? Because he was doing cleanup, clearly. No, she didn't happen to cut her finger and she's like, ooh, and then she was wrapping up her finger or cleaning up her own mess. No. He took her life and he used hand wipes to try to clean things up. Wow. Moving on, though. Cross-examination. Blair Burke. Here we go. So Burke established that Tosh was not the primary DNA analyst who performed the testing in this case. Tosh testified the report was authorized by another analyst, with multiple analysts contributing to the work. She explained her role was the technical reviewer of the DNA analysis. So who cares, right? Who gives a damn? But okay, she tripping over this. No, well, you weren't technically the spearheading this investigation as far as the DNA. Now, were you? Shut up. Who cares? If she was there and she was a part of the investigation, she could give us the information. It's all on paper. You see what I'm saying? JLK, thank you so much. We're getting closer and closer to the day that this doo-doo Dorito Dookie music ends once and for all. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Because his music sucks. His music sucks. It smells like his face. I ain't never heard about music smelling, but his music smells like his face. Dookie face doo-doo head. D4VD. Just so. His music sucks. In case you didn't already know. All right. So yeah, once and for all, we ain't gonna need, I don't care. We won't have to hear that crap anymore. Okay, we won't hear that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You know for a fact kids are out here burning his stuff now, burning all his albums and his book, behind the scenes book for Withered. You know what I mean? It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. He really tried to be like a black Marilyn Manson. You know what I mean? He was like trying to be Marilyn Manson, like a black Marilyn Manson meets like, I don't even know what kind of artist, like, you know what I'm saying? Like an R&B, like I wouldn't even say he was R&B, but okay. People are like, the R&B singer. That ain't R&B. That is not R&B. Oh my God, that's not R&B. You know what I'm saying? Dookie face doo-doo head did not make R&B music, okay? That was some other thing. I don't know what that was. Okay? That was a hybrid, and that's fine. That's fine. Some people want to enjoy his music. By all means, enjoy his music. Okay? But like I said, it just, it's not the same. And I would say the same thing. Real talk. I would say the same thing if Aura, he's a terrible individual. Terrible, right? But from what we understand, he didn't take nobody's life. He took other people's lives, like their dignity and their self-worth and all that. That's also, yeah, that's bad too. And I'm not trying to justify Aura. Not at all. Okay? Not at all. And Diddy, he just slathered people with baby oil and he has a small weed whacker. You know what I mean? So can you be mad at him about that? I mean, how can you be mad at somebody for having a small weed? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? How can you be mad at somebody who has a small, like, how you can, because what he did is really bad. And now I got fires going on. Okay. That's crazy. But you realize, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, Diddy was bad. Aura's bad. But D4VD is worse. Do you see? You understand? You understand? He left no legacy in music. Like none. Zero. I don't know why I did that as zero. None. You know what I'm saying? You want to know why these fire alarms are going off? It's because I'm fire. Clearly. Welcome to the Pascal Show, where I give you nothing but hot fire truth. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, as I was saying, it's never a dull moment on this show, okay? But let me just be real. D4VD's music is trash. That's all. So again, his team, and I get it. I don't know if clearly this is not pro bono work for his team. All right, they're getting paid just as much as anybody else in there, and they're getting paid to do this. But I'm really feeling like she's singing. Burke right now, his attorney, is singing for her supper right now, and she's like, "Well, the coordinates and well." You technically are not the one who spearheaded the DNA analysis of this DNA. And the person's like, yeah, but I was there. I was part of the team. So I did all that. It's dumb. You know what he should be on trial for? For his trash music. Just so you know as well. There should be a second trial where there should be a class action lawsuit for all the people that have had to deal with his trash music. You know what I'm saying? Hell is wrong with you putting us through that crap. Like, can I continue, please? I'm going to continue now. All right? So, she asked about Tosh's communication with prosecutor Beth Silverman before her testimony. She testified Silverman reviewed with her the topics she would be asked about so she could review the reports. So Burke says, because you weren't the analyst. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Really? Because you weren't the analyst. So you had to go through all the information so you knew what to talk about. Come on. Okay? Come on. So Burke questioned Tosh, whatever, about her background, qualifications, and prior testimony as an expert witness. Did Attorney Burke put on her Karen wig and go, "Can I speak to your manager? I'd like to speak to your manager right now. Is she the best? Is she really qualified to do this job? I need to speak to your manager, sir. Give me the number or the email address, please and thank you." What? I was there. I was part of the whole investigation. No, you weren't. Where is this Karen coming out from? So Burke questioned her about partial DNA profiles, and then Tosh agreed they contained less genetic information and are therefore less powerful in differentiating between individuals than full DNA profiles. So Burke also focused on the limitations of DNA evidence. So Tosh agreed that DNA testing cannot determine how DNA was deposited on an item, when it was deposited, or when it was deposited, or what activity led to its presence. Stop already. Stop already. So you mean to tell me the DNA that was found on the rowing machine, what? So suddenly out of nowhere, baby Celeste just suddenly felt an urge to start high rocks training and walked over to the rowing machine, and while she was in mid-row, she just cut her finger and then didn't clean up the blood off the rowing machine? You mean to tell me that she went over to the charger, whatever the charger is, I'm assuming a phone charger, and she was trying to plug her phone in to charge her light blue phone that she had in her possession the entire time, in my personal opinion? You mean to tell me that while she was plugging in her phone to charge her phone, she cut her finger again, bled all over the freaking charger? Like, come on. This is dumb. This is dumb. But she's singing for her supper. She's reaching, guys. She's reaching. All right? She testified DNA can persist for weeks, months, or even years, depending on the circumstances. Tosh also agreed the laboratory results cannot determine whether DNA was transferred through direct contact or another type of transfer. Fine. Because they're like, we weren't there. All we know is that there was blood found in these particular areas on these particular things, and that's it. Oh, it was a Tesla charger. Thank you. So she went over to the Tesla. She plugged in the Tesla to charge the Tesla, and as she's walking over there, she just randomly nicks her finger and just starts bleeding everywhere like an old SNL skit. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You remember the skit with Julia Childs? Oh! And she cuts her finger, and then she just starts bleeding everywhere. Dan Aykroyd. It's old school. It's a throwback. Make it make sense. All I'm saying is it's dumb. It's dumb. Just saying. Reaching like a mother lover. Let's continue on, though. Tosh also agreed that humans shed thousands of cells, making DNA transfer possible in a variety of ways. Yes, so we're talking about touch DNA. We're talking about all different types of things. It's true. Sure. And he had a lot of friends in and out of that place. But you mean to tell me we talk about the blood? We ain't talking about a hair follicle or dandruff, a flake of skin or something like that. No, we're talking about her blood. That's a massive difference. Burke asked about secondary DNA transfer, and Tosh acknowledged there are specific studies examining how easily DNA can be transferred. So Burke then asked whether Tosh could say how or when Celeste's DNA ended up on the rowing machine. Tosh said she could not. Tosh agreed. The same limitation applies to the green tarp, black rubber mat, and charger. So Burke, the lawyer, not dookie face doo-doo head, also questioned whether the DNA necessarily originated from blood. Tosh testified she could not specifically say the DNA came from blood and said it was possible the DNA originated from skin cells. So again, fine. That's fine. But at the same time, this DNA was from her. that is without question, this was from her. You can sit there and move the goalpost as best as you can, all right? But at the end of the day, you know for a fact, this DNA was hers. There was his DNA in there as well. Yes, there were other DNA from other people as well, but the main character, aside from Celeste, was DNA, okay? But let's get into this. This is from yesterday as well. Again, from Lauren Conlon. The last witness of the day, who will continue into tomorrow, was Dr. Grant Ho, the deputy medical examiner with the LA County Medical Examiner's Office. Ho testified he has worked in the office for 5 years. He has performed over 2,500 autopsy examinations and has testified in court roughly 40 different times. So he's done his fair share. He told the court he conducted the autopsy on the remains identified through dental records as 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Ho testified that at the time of her demise, she measured at 5'2", 5'2" tall, and weighed 71 mother-loving pounds, guys. You want to know why she weighed 71 pounds? Because she basically melted away. He described the remains as markedly decomposed, explaining that the condition significantly interfered with the autopsy examination. Ho also observed evidence of trauma to the body consistent with dismemberment of the extremities, and noted that Celeste was wearing braces at the time of her remains, or when her remains were being examined. She was wearing braces, y'all. This is how young this little girl was. She was wearing freaking braces. Unfreaking believable. But we're going to hop over here to News Nation really quick to hear about this. Again, guys, and then we got more. We got a whole lot more, but I want to take a little bit of break to get some water, drink some water and everything. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just getting the water here really quick. But I want to hear a little bit of what Jesse Weber has to say. And I think Lauren Conlon's on here too. We're going to be seeing a lot of Lauren Conlon. Okay, she out here work. All right, we got Brian Ensign's conversation with her as well. We got a lot to look at, so let's get into it. Don't forget to hit the like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush that like button down below. Do not forget to subscribe. Can I just tell? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Do that thing. Subscribe. We are here, giving you guys the information and the edutainment that you need. How's that? Okay? Infotainment? Yeah, do that thing.
The preliminary hearing to determine whether or not there's enough evidence to put singer David on trial for the alleged murder, dismemberment, and sexual abuse of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez wrapped its third day this afternoon. Today, the deputy medical examiner took the stand and testified that Celeste's remains only weighed 71 pounds during the autopsy. The remains were severely decomposed, which can complicate the examination. And what is truly heartbreaking, they indicated that Celeste, this child, had braces. But there was also a lot of other important testimony, too. There was a DNA analyst that testified that DNA consistent with Celeste was found in multiple locations, something the defense challenged with their own theory of how that may have happened. We also learned more about how detectives tracked David's alleged movement using his data from his cell phone and Tesla, what that may have revealed. There's a lot to get into. So joining me now live from Los Angeles, we have News Nation national correspondent Nancy Liu and Lauren Conlon, contributor for LA Magazine, who has also been covering this story from the very beginning, was inside the courtroom. So happy to have both of you here. Nancy, what stuck out to you the most from today's testimony? If you ask me, I think learning about what Celeste was wearing when she died and that soiled clothes, it was pretty awful.
Yeah, and we heard from multiple criminologists today, and those images of the soiled clothes, they were removed from Celeste's body parts, and it included a tube top. Victoria's Secret's thong panties, as well as Skechers socks and leggings. But we also heard about the DNA, her DNA, found all over David's garage. There were the images of the pool, the blue plastic pool that everyone has heard about, where David allegedly dismembered her body. We heard testimony about how pieces of plastic recovered from the autopsy matched up to missing pieces of that plastic pool. And Jesse, today I spent a lot of time watching David because I was sitting behind him, and it was just fascinating because he's in his orange jumpsuit, but he's got black glasses on. He's got his arms on the table at times. He's got his arms at his face at times. He almost looks like a college student with his glasses on, and he's studying and looking at everything intently, but showing no emotion.
It's pretty bizarre.
Any of it.
It's pretty bizarre, given the substance of this, what this testimony is, and that he's on trial for murder, or potentially will be on trial for murder. And by the way, they talked about DNA consistent with Celeste. Blood stain in the Tesla, blood stain on a mat from a garage, stain on a rowing machine, stain on a charger, stain on a green tarp, hand wipes. Lauren, let me go to you, the deputy medical examiner. What did we learn? What did we not learn? Do we know cause, manner of death from this witness? And I also understand Celeste's family left when this testimony was going down.
So I got to tell you, he was only on the stand for about 5 minutes before court was adjourned for the day. So it was very, very brief. He did indicate everything you said. Celeste weighed 71 pounds when her remains were identified. He actually referred to them as markedly decomposed, and he explained that the condition they were in severely interfered with the autopsy examination, which made me a little bit nervous. He also said that he did observe the evidence of trauma to the body that was consistent with dismemberment. And then he also observed metal hardware in her mouth, which can also be known as braces. And again, it was heartbreaking. I mean, I think I said this to you the other night. I can't help at times but just look over at her family, and it just makes you feel awful. I mean, awful. It's indescribable.
It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Lauren, just sticking with you for a second on the defense. They had room to go here, right, in terms of the DNA that Nancy was describing, right? I mean, how are they cross-examining these witnesses regarding the DNA? And David's DNA didn't really come up that much, right?
No, so David's DNA was actually found on a garbage bag specifically, but there was also this garbage bag in particular. There were 4 different types of DNA, 2 being male DNA, one of the males being David. So that was quite interesting. But I think the defense really just honed in on the fact that the science of DNA. Well, it is very easy to transfer DNA. You know, I could touch this podium and my...
See, that's the problem I have with this, guys. This is the massive problem I have with this. Because they could easily sit there and go, well, you know, don't you see that it's really easy for DNA to float around and land on certain things, or touch DNA can go here, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, you can't deny that it's not like somebody ran up and just flung random specks of Celeste Rivas's blood throughout the house. You know what I mean? Or in the garage specifically. It just sounds to me like he didn't do as good of a cleanup job as he thought he did. Maybe it was thorough, but it wasn't thorough enough. You know, his team, they're doing their job. I get it. Their job is to defend their client. But you've got to miss me with the nonsense when you have common sense in this situation. You can't sit there and try to throw probable, reasonable doubt into the mix when everything is found in his possession. The DNA, the blood that was found, is in his car. The blood that was found was on items that he owned that were in his home. You see what I'm saying? So again, sure, they could sit there and go, well, maybe somebody else planted all the blood. Maybe somebody else planted all that on him in his house and then planted the body in his car. Sure. you could put that in there, but it's weak. It's a weak defense. There's no way, like I said, there's no way he's getting out of this. He's probably going to get the DP. He probably will. Whether he wants that to happen, like whether he likes it or not, his demeanor, how he has the absolute gall, the audacity of him to actually say that he's not guilty, that he didn't do this, that he truly thinks he can get away with this. This guy is too hungry for his own fame and notoriety and getting his music out there than he is about doing the right thing, which is admitting guilt and taking what comes to him. Sad. It's very sad.
DNA is on it. They also talked about the fact that you don't actually know when the DNA was placed on certain items or how it was placed there.
Right.
So, I mean, there was a lot of time spent on that and spent on the science, but it's also interesting because there's no real conclusive answer. They kind of sat there and asked these questions until the witness was like, yeah, it's possible.
Right. And it's kind of the building blocks of what we could see at a trial.
Right.
Nancy, I thought the digital data was very significant. David's Tesla cell phone, what did that reveal?
Yeah, we saw that there were cell phone records and tower records, which showed that the Tesla and the cell phone moved after Celeste's death. There were 3 different trips up to the Santa Barbara area, and the defense tried to chip away at the accuracy of cell phone tower data, how close it really is to whatever you're trying to track. But the detective testified that it is within, I think, 0.8 miles. So, yeah, but in question is like, what happened during those 3 trips to Santa Barbara? And the defense also tried to raise doubt about who was in the car, who had the phone, who was driving. So, yeah, well, they're
and remember,
trying to chip away.
They say that her passport card was thrown out on that trip, right? That's what they seem to suggest. Lauren, before we let you go, somebody who's been on this program a number of times, Steve Fisher, a private investigator who's been looking into this case, some drama with him in the courtroom, right? What happened?
That was so crazy, Jesse. It happened within the first, I want to say, 10 minutes of court. The prosecutor, Beth Silverman, said to the judge, I want to put this on record that a grand jury witness is in the courtroom. And she kind of said that he did something else. I couldn't really make out what she was saying, but she said not only that, but he also was caught in the lobby talking to the Rivas family attorney, and he shouldn't be doing that. And he'll post about it because he posts every day. And Steve stood up and he just said, you know, Your Honor, I just want to put it on the record that the family attorney approached me, not the other way around. And then Patrick Steinfeld stood up and said, yes, Your Honor, that's correct. I did approach him. It was a 15-second conversation, and that was it. And Steve handled himself with grace and left the courtroom. But it was quite shocking, I will say that.
You know, I always read Steve's posts on X, and I knew that there was he always talked about some sort of tension with Beth Silverman. So this is really an interesting update. We'll see where it goes. I appreciate you both. One thing
and we do have the Lauren Conlon also just gave us an update a little while ago, and I'm going to pull this up here now. And yeah, guys, I mean, this is from this morning during their break. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be Mark the Shark if he got in there. I don't know if he did get in there or not. I'm sure he's doing some sort of coverage about this as well. But this is the morning break, and she says graphic warning, okay, or warning graphic content. So we may have to use some code words in this mug while we get into it. All right. So very interesting stuff. All right. So Deputy Medical Examiner Grant Ho, okay, was back in. So Dr. Ho was back in. Okay. So they resumed his testimony. And I think that this is going to be the final nail in the coffin, at least for the judge to be like, okay, when are we going into trial? That's what I think, truly. But we'll see. So Dr. Ho testified the odor from Celeste's body was strong enough to be detected from the hallway outside the autopsy room. That is insane. That is insane. Due to the marked decomposition, Dr. Ho said it's difficult to estimate how long Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body had been deceased, or how long she had been deceased. I'm sorry. Factors include internal body changes, environmental conditions, how the body was stored, weather/temperature, scavenger activity, and whether the remains were isolated. So scavenger activity, which obviously means, that's insects, maggots, insects, etc. There was a lot of insects and maggot activity. Okay. So that is for sure. Okay. Terrible. When asked for a general time frame, not an exact date, Dr. Ho testified the remains had been deceased for, quote unquote, at least weeks. Now, if she lost her life on April 24th, 2025, then that would mean that's more than just weeks. That's months. Okay. But he's saying she was at least gone for at least weeks. But her body was so far gone, he could not determine a time of death, an approximate time of death. That's insane. Prosecutor Beth Silverman asked whether the condition of the remains was consistent with Celeste having died as early as April 24th. Dr. Ho responded, potentially. Dr. Ho testified he conducted the autopsy alongside trainee Dr. Anzul Nam, with Ho serving as the supervising medical examiner. The two verbally discussed their observations during the examination while notes were recorded on coroner diagrams. Photographs and diagrams were also created as part of the autopsy. Dr. Ho then said the primary observations were marked decomposition and trauma consistent with dismemberment. So she was cut apart, just so you know, according to Dr. Ho. Regarding the upper extremities, Dr. Ho testified there was one dismemberment site on each arm. The lower body also showed two cut sites on each side. He described the cut surfaces as generally smooth, but noted two blue fragments embedded within the cut surfaces. So this is on the lower body. The fragments were too small for him to identify, so he deferred that analysis to criminalists. Larger fragments were collected and booked into evidence by the medical examiner's office. Dr. Ho testified the dismemberment extended through bone, not just soft tissue. Asked what tools medical examiners use to cut through the tissue and bone during autopsies, Dr. Ho said scalpels and knives are used for soft tissue and organs, while power tools such as a circular bone saws and rib cutters for ribs are used to cut through bone because of its density. It seemed like Silverman was highlighting that power tools are the only way to get through the actual bone. Regarding the lower extremities, Dr. Ho testified there were two areas that had been cut. Referring to an autopsy diagram, Dr. Grant Ho testified each leg showed two dismemberment sites, one around the upper thigh and another below the knee. Although the diagrams are not drawn to scale, he noted the cut on the right thigh was lower than the cut on the left thigh, meaning the cuts occurred at different positions on each leg. Okay. Prosecutor Beth Silverman asked whether that pattern was consistent with using a tool to dismember one leg at a time, rather than making one straight cut across both legs. So he said, in response, potentially. So in other words, David or somebody else who was helping him did one leg once and then did the other one by itself. He went one at a time. He didn't go, let's just do a straight cut through both legs. He went one leg and then he went to the other leg. Okay? Prosecutor Beth Silverman asked whether that pattern was consistent with using a tool to dismember one leg at a time rather than make, oh, I already said that. I'm so sorry. Okay. So asked whether, based on his experience and the appearance of the dismemberment, it looked consistent with the use of a power saw. He also answered potentially. He said potentially a lot. He said it a lot, apparently. Dr. Ho testified he could not determine whether dismemberment occurred before or after the demise. Asked whether the injuries were consistent with a powered cutting tool, such as a chainsaw, he said potentially. So in other words, he's just saying, yeah, man, yeah, quite possibly, yes. Okay. He also testified that in addition to the amputated arms, the left ring finger and left pinky finger had also been amputated. Those cut surfaces were likewise clean and smooth. Asked whether those finger amputations were consistent with a sharp object or a sharp instrument, such as a knife or saw, Dr. Ho answered yes. He didn't say potentially, he said yes. Ho confirmed autopsy diagram number 20 documented those observations. He also identified a tattoo on the medial side of her right index finger. Graphic photos of the right index finger and the amputated leg, the amputated left ring and pinky fingers recovered from the Hollywood tow yard were shown on the screen. Multiple gasps in the gallery. Dr. Ho described clean cut surfaces, brown liquid, and skin slippage consistent with decomposition. D4VD continued staring at the diagrams and graphic photographs without any visible expression or reaction because he's a dookie face. Doo-doo head. Moving on. Silverman displayed a full-body graphic autopsy photograph with Celeste's body on a metal table. D4VD continued watching the screen without any visible reaction because he's a dookie face doo-doo head. Moving on. Dr. Ho described the body as severely decomposed, discolored, with multiple dismemberment sites visible on the arms and legs. The left arm rested somewhat behind the body. He noted changes in skin color, skin slippage, and areas where the skin had dried, explaining postpartum sun exposure can contribute to drying. Postpartum sun exposure can contribute to drying. Skin slippage and areas where the skin had dried. Explaining postpartum sun exposure can contribute to drying. Was she outside somewhere for a little while? Or even crazier, did he open up the car to air it out? Seriously, did he open up the trunk to air it out? And just let it be there? In the sun? But he was trying to air out some of the smell? Or he put her somewhere? Oh, this guy's a monster. Sun exposure, y'all. Sun exposure. He noted changes in skin color, skin slippage in areas where the skin had dried, explaining postpartum sun exposure can contribute to drying. Celeste's face showed partial skeletization with the left eye missing and significant liquefaction, of soft tissue. There was still some black, short, curly hair. He documented multiple skin defects, including both dried areas and wet areas caused by liquidation of tissue breakdown, as well as insect activity, including small larvae. So in other words, maggots, bugs, nasty insects. Have mercy. He explained that during decomposition, organs change color, lose weight, and soften. So, graphic photo of Celeste's discolored raw torso after it was removed from the Tesla. D4VD continued staring at the screen without any visible reaction. Dr. Ho pointed out skin defects on the right abdomen, areas of skin discoloration, and injuries on the left side of the chest. Dr. Ho testified there was a penetrating wound that traveled through the skin, through the diaphragm, and into the liver, which he said was compatible with sharp force injury. That's crazy. Okay? That's crazy. The wound measured approximately 1.5 inches in depth, but Dr. Ho explained decomposition caused the liver to shrink and soften, making the wound track more difficult to measure. He said it could have originally been deeper. Dr. Ho testified the wound traveled, from the front to the back, consistent with Celeste being stabbed in the abdomen. Graphic photos shown of Celeste's open chest cavity during the autopsy, showing the injury to the diaphragm, and the corresponding defect in the liver. Another graphic photo shown of the liver after it had been removed from the body. Dr. Ho testified the organ had changed shape because it is soft tissue, but identified the wound track associated with the abdominal injury. We then saw close-up photographs showing multiple non-specific defects in the soft tissue around the ribs. Dr. Ho testified there were skin defects, but no corresponding trauma to the underlying ribs or bones, making it impossible to determine whether they represented post-mortem changes or true injuries. He said they could have been caused by a sharp object, but could not say definitely. Another graphic photo shown that Dr. Ho described as a cortical disruption of the ribs. He testified it represented a penetrating chest injury, with the wound traveling through the skin, soft tissue, and into the chest cavity. Because of the condition of the remains, he said it was impossible to determine the wound's endpoint. Yikes. This is how badly decomposed this body was. That's crazy. Post-mortem. Moving on. Dr. Ho testified the injury had chipped away part of the bone, confirming it was trauma-induced, and estimated the wound penetrated at least 2 inches. He identified linear abrasions on the back of Celeste's right hand. Another graphic photo of the severed right knee is shown, taken before the autopsy, which Dr. Ho testified showed blue fragments embedded within the cut surface. He could not determine what caused the blue plastic fragments to become embedded in the cut surface of the bone. Silverman then posed a hypothetical, paraphrasing, a hypothetical question. If the victim had been placed in a blue inflatable pool after being unalived to contain the blood while the body was dismembered with a chainsaw, would that scenario be consistent with the embedded blue plastic fragments? Defense objected, arguing the question lacked foundation, was leading, and that Dr. Ho already said he did not know. The judge overruled the objection, and then Dr. Ho responded, possibly. Dr. Ho then testified the left chest injury was life-threatening explaining it could have introduced air into the chest cavity, impairing breathing, or directly injured the lung. He also testified the injury to the actual liver was independently life-threatening. A damage to the organ could result in significant internal bleeding. Asked how long it would take someone to bleed to death from a chest injury, Dr. Ho said it could take minutes, though he could not do more specific because the exact time frame depends on numerous factors. When pressed whether it could take up to an hour, Dr. Ho replied he could not say specifically, only that it would occur within minutes, noting there are many minutes within an hour, though. Then, asked whether someone would likely die within an hour without medical treatment, Dr. Ho said that question was outside his area of expertise. Dr. Ho then testified the average adult has about 5 liters of blood, but said a typical 14-year-old would have less, though he did not know the exact amount off the top of his head. Regarding Celeste's liver injury, Dr. Ho testified the resulting hemorrhaging likewise could become life-threatening within minutes, potentially extending up to about an hour, depending on the circumstances. Silverman also asked about the orthodontic hardware noted during the autopsy that he referred to as braces on Thursday. Dr. Ho testified he observed wire bonded on the back of both upper and lower teeth, but repeatedly testified or clarified, I'm not a dentist. So maybe she had like a retainer, like maybe she had a retainer of some sort. Regardless, she had some hardware for sure in her mouth to fix whatever was going on with her teeth. So that is some very, very shocking information. We just went through all of that. Crazy. In other words, let's just say this. In other words, he did this. In other words, he did this. That's without question. Okay? I need to pull something up here really quick. Real quick. Give me a second, guys.
The evidence gets more
Give me a second,
shocking
y'all.
and gruesome with each day.
Actually, this
Hey
is what I
guys,
wanna
thanks
see.
so much for checking out my show. Really appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed. I am in downtown Los Angeles. I've been at the David preliminary hearings. This is actually the courthouse right here. I mean, I've been telling you guys, it's disturbing. There's no other way to put it. It's been graphic. It's been awful for the victim, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, his family, and the details in this episode are rough in terms of specifically blood evidence that was found and the medical examiner and what was discovered about what prosecutors say happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I'm going to get into all of it in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. All right, hey guys, so I'm outside the courthouse here in downtown Los Angeles. I just kind of found like a quiet spot. A lot of activity in downtown Los Angeles. To give you guys some of the latest on what's been happening in the David preliminary hearing. Again, some of this is graphic and I'm toning it down for you guys. I mean, I don't even want to like repeat some of what some of these photos look like and what some of these details are, but I'm gonna, at the same time, like, if you're watching this, you probably want to know what happened and it's real. I mean, it's real life. So I'm gonna give you guys as much as I can from the notes that I took. And again, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom and they don't allow any kind of live transmission, whether it be like a live feed or even like live tweeting or any live note taking. So you can't like reveal any of this information until the breaks, and it's just all notes that you took while in court. So bear with me as I go through some of this. So there was a detective on the stand who inspected the Tesla, David's Tesla, where Celeste Rivas' body was found in the front trunk, remember, dismembered. And this part was really intense. And actually, Celeste Rivas Hernandez's parents left the courtroom for this part. They were there for all the photos and a lot of the awful stuff, but they did leave for this part. The detective explained that she found at least 11 air fresheners inside David's car, and one of the they had photos that showed the air fresheners. One of them, the air freshener literally had so many maggots on it that you couldn't even see the air freshener. It was just covered in maggots. There were so many maggots and insects on and coming out of David's Tesla because the body was decomposing inside. David, by the way, was sitting there in the courtroom just looking like emotionless. Like, no emotion. Just sitting there throughout all of this.
Dookie face.
And so the detective explained that she completed 2 different chemical tests on the car. And forgive me, I tried to write down the name of this. Phenylethylamine, they call it Pheno, and Blue Star to determine the possibility of blood or latent blood not visible to the naked eye. You know, they use those blue lights to figure out if blood was somewhere. So the prosecution put up several photos. Sorry if I keep looking around. Like if you guys have been to downtown LA, like there's just a lot of like kind of odd people walking around. I say odd, but just like people that kind of make you a little bit nervous sometimes. So, but everything's good now. Not like dangerous or anything, but you guys know what I mean.
Welcome to LA. Just saying. Moving on.
So the prosecution put up several photos where the tests showed blue, which would be positive. The passenger seat showed signs of possible blood. Third row of seats showed signs of possible blood. Trunk, and when asked if she found anything else that was noteworthy, she said that she found a memory stick in the glove box, which I thought was interesting. You think about what could be on that. On cross-examination, the defense asked about photos taken at the crime scene and about them being enhanced, used the word photoshopped, obviously trying to kind of dig into whether the photos aren't legit. Prosecution objected, and the defense asked if they were Photoshop Murillo. The detective said she didn't know what program their photographers used. On a redirect, the prosecution asked what kind of enhancements are done to crime scene photos, and they kind of went back and forth about that. And then there was another criminalist called from LAPD. She responded to the defendant's home on 9/17 to process the scene there. She was looking for biological evidence, she said. And there were the black exercise-type mats on the floor of the garage. She said they were damaged with approximately 7 linear cuts, which when you hear linear cuts, I mean, remember, the cause of death for Celeste Rivas Hernandez, we believe, is going to be stabbing. And so the linear cuts in the mats, they seem to be very, very interested in. Several of the mats also had red stains, and they tested positive as blood stains. So I think there's like an ambulance going by. They sprayed them with the Blue Star, and when they showed the photo of the mats in the dark, they then lit up blue. And I mean like lit up blue, which showed that there was potentially a lot of blood. And basically the entire room just like gasped when that happened. Like there was so much of the blue that was showing, and it just kind of took everybody in the room, I guess, by surprise. The next exhibit was a photo of the floor under the mats, which they also sprayed, and those areas also lit up. So there's potentially a lot of blood in the house, in David's garage. And the prosecutor asked if that could have been blood seeping through the mats, and Wallace said yes, that was possible. The next exhibit showed a trash bag filled with stained wipes, consistent with Clorox cleaning type wipes. They also tested positive for the possibility of blood. The prosecutor showed a photo of the blue inflatable pool, and this is the pool that they alleged that David may have, dismembered Celeste Rivas Hernandez in. It was crumpled up in the corner, and when Wallace arrived at the house, and the prosecutor asked if it smelled like anything, Wallace said it smelled like laundry, and they actually found a dryer sheet inside the pool, perhaps indicating that it had been washed. The prosecution continued questioning about the pool. There was a lot of questions about the pool. Appeared to have jagged cuts on the pool. The prosecution asked if it could be consistent with the sharp instrument that made the cuts in the mats, and she said yes. It got kind of interesting here. It's kind of a side note. The judge at one point reprimanded the Rivas family attorney. His name is Patrick Steinfeld, and if you look at my other episode, he's talked outside court every day. He's representing the Rivas family, Celeste's parents. It seems like they're going to have a civil lawsuit, and he's representing them. And the
So we're going to jump ahead because we already know all this stuff. Play this really quick. I'm going to speed this up too a little bit. Just so y'all know.
And with LA Magazine. So I want to talk about the latest with the DNA. There was new DNA information that came out.
Yes.
Really connecting, I guess, David and Celeste to some of these key items.
Yes. So the afternoon was largely focused on the LAPD criminalist. Her name is Samantha Tosh, and she, you know, I would say she dropped some bombshells here, and she was able to develop a DNA profile from a toenail given to her by the medical examiner's office that belonged to Celeste, and then she was able to get a buccal swab from David, which is a cheek swab. And so from that, she was able to get quite a few DNA matches on items of David's, some containing reddish stains that we believe to be blood. So for an example, there were 2 stains in the Tesla, and both of those stains, she testified that they produced a, quote, single source female DNA profile that included Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And what that means is the statistical analysis showed that the profile was approximately 1 septillion times more likely to have originated from Celeste than an unrelated individual. So this is a match. I want to say it like that properly. I mean, I think in lay terms, it's like, yes, this is a match. But of course, with the defense, you know, they want to poke holes everywhere. So, you know, with their cross-examination, it was like, well, DNA, it's easy to transfer, and not all of this has to be blood. You know, her DNA matched the sections on the green tarp, on the Tesla charging block, I believe. There was a few other items. Let me see. Oh, a rowing machine. So, you know, the defense was just like, well, it could be transferred this way, it could be transferred that way. And also, we don't know when it got there. And the expert Tosh was like, okay, you're right. But it was expected, I guess, for it to go on that long. But one really big thing for me was that she talked about this black trash bag that was recovered during the investigation. And Tosh testified that a swab from the trash bag contained a mixture of DNA from 4 individuals, 2 males, 1 being David Burke, and Celeste. She was excluded from this DNA mixture. So
this is on the trash bag. And the trash bag, was it in the garage?
So it's a little unclear. I believe this is the trash bag from the garage, but there was another trash bag too, and inside that trash bag, there were white cloths with brown stains. David's DNA was not on that trash bag, and on the cloths, Celeste's DNA matched. So again, there was one thing I wanted to say, and just to sort of show you the difference here. So there was the black rubber mats on the floor recovered from the garage, and those samples produced, quote, a single source female DNA profile with 15 genetic markers consistent with Celeste, but it was, quote, a partial profile, which means it's 20 quadrillion times more likely to have originated from Celeste than someone else. So instead of, you know, 1 septillion, I know this sounds crazy, it's 20 quadrillion.
Oh my god.
It's just like, sorry, Car, it seems pretty logical to say, okay, that blood belongs to Celeste, in my opinion, based on what I saw today.
And so what the defense's pushback was just that she was in the house anyway?
Well, it wasn't even so much that she was in the house, but sure, we can assume that to be the case, I guess, but would that be conceding that they were, you know, that he was grooming her? I don't know. But so they didn't exactly say that, but they just pointed out, well, you can't tell when the DNA was present on there, or when it happened, or why. And just, you know, if I were to touch this podium, my DNA would be on there. So it was just a lot about the science, basically. It was long. It was a little, you know, but again, I expected this because this is what they have to do.
What about the cell phone data? Because there was this, what was it, an ID card of Celeste that was found that they've been talking about, or?
Yeah, so it was her passport that was found.
Which the photo, by the way, was so sad.
Oh my gosh, she looks so young.
Yeah.
She's such a sweet little girl.
It was one of the saddest parts of this whole thing, I think, seeing that photo.
I agree, and also the photo that we saw on the body cam footage where she was wearing the Batman zip up. Something about that sweatshirt, it just makes me feel like just, oh my gosh, awful. Just because it's like, it's just something that a kid would wear, I guess. Let me pull up. I want to just be pretty exact here with the cell phone and the Tesla ISMI data. So that came from a detective who specialized in cellular analysis here, and basically his testimony was solely focused on where David's Tesla ISMI pinged, you know, which towers it pinged, and also his cell phone. And these two things generally traveled in tandem together on these certain nights. So we had April 24th into 25th. I believe that was the night that she died. Or no, am I messing that up? It could be April, there it is, I'm sorry, April 23rd into the 24th. And then The other date was May 8th and May 31st. So these are the 3 trips that he made out towards Santa Barbara. They were able to trace these through the cell towers. And during the cross-examination, the defense focused on the fact that this analysis was done through cell towers and through cell phone data, but not GPS data. And he didn't do any driving analysis. And it was kind of just like, he was like, well, that's not my job. My job is to specifically do this. And they said, did you test Celeste's phone or do any forensics there? And he basically said, again, just the pinging of the towers. It's not my job to do these GPS scrapes, etc. And he did confirm there was a call placed to Celeste on April 24th when we believe she was already deceased, and it went straight to voicemail. So yeah, that's
pretty damning.
I mean, yeah, I think that will definitely be damning once we sort of hear the timeline that the medical examiner provides. But we did see, or we heard about 5 minutes from the medical examiner on the stand at the end of the day today. He's going to finish into tomorrow. And something he said, he called Celeste's body markedly decomposed. And he made, let me see. And he said that the condition, and he started to say this but didn't get into it, he said the condition significantly interfered with the autopsy examination. So, we'll find out tomorrow, but I'm very nervous about this. I feel like
the medical examiner is going to be big.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Big enough for you to change.
And it is. We just went through what, what Lauren Conlon put up, and it's pretty crazy what we are hearing. It's bad, y'all. And it's massive, because at the end of the day, this shows to us that, yeah, guys, he did this. Whether or not he did this alone, we don't know yet. But he did this, y'all. He most definitely did this. I want to play a little bit more of this.
Change your plane ticket.
I am changing it. I'm not going to stay the whole day because I just can't.
It's been emotional. I was talking to another producer today. Like, it's been an emotional.
Awful.
It's been really sad. And with her parents, and where they were in there.
I was just going to say that. And I said this on a video I made. I could cry looking at her dad. His eyes. It gets me because I just look into his eyes and they look so sad. So I just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so it's hard. I don't know. It's like there's something about, dads and daughters, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, and then you pair it with this guy that's just sitting at the defense table, like he's just sitting ready to meet a friend for lunch. It's so strange. It is so strange to me, Brian. He does not react. He is stoic. He had some casual conversations, it seemed, with his attorneys today, smiling, nodding, laughing, and you're just like, again, I would have to be physically removed from the courtroom as a parent.
When I think I said this story yesterday in my podcast, but like, there was this time when the Celeste's mom and dad were just standing alone together by the bathroom in the hallway when we were about to go in, and they didn't have anyone with them at that point. There wasn't like a victim's advocate. They were just literally by themselves, and they just looked so sad. Yeah. And just, I don't know, it was like,
yeah, I know.
I don't know how to explain it.
No, there's nothing you can say.
And it was kind of like they just, I don't think they ever saw themselves in this situation. You know what I mean? And I don't think they speak English very. I was just thinking, like, I think they're confused about how they,
So they do have a translator, but it is interesting that you bring up something, the victim's advocate. I see a translator, I see a lawyer, but I don't see a victim advocate.
I was surprised they were alone. I mean, no one was going up to them. They were fine.
Right.
But I just felt like they were on this little island by themselves, standing by the bathroom. It made me feel bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. And also the treatment of their attorney, I do feel like we didn't really get into this, but. And I guess I'll backtrack, but the treatment of their attorney by the prosecutor specifically this morning is questionable.
So what happened?
Well, so Steve Fisher, the PI, ends up getting kicked out of the courtroom this morning. Beth Silverman said he was a grand jury witness. She makes some kind of accusation against him about I don't remember what it was, not following the rules or something. And then she's like, and he was downstairs in the lobby talking to the family attorney, and he's not supposed to do that, whatever. And Steve was super gracious about it because she was, she was forceful about this. And so he stood up and he said, I just want to put on the record, Your Honor, that I did not approach the family attorney, the Rivas family attorney. He approached me. And then the attorney, Patrick Steinfeld, who is so nice, by the way, he's such a nice guy. He stood up and he's like, absolutely, I approached him. And it was a 15-second conversation.
And this is the same attorney who got in trouble for recording.
Well, for having his laptop out. Yeah. And so he just said, yeah, it was 15 seconds, whatever. And so Steve, he leaves, it's fine. But then Beth Silverman turned around to him, and I don't know what was said previously or what prompted this other than him saying that he approached Steve, but I heard her say, don't push me, you'll see what happens, and I will take your badge away, meaning your badge to get inside the courtroom as an attorney. And I was like, what happened? What's going on?
There's been some drama there.
It definitely, there's been drama not that does not involve the actual case.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the day, and I've talked about this with the whole weird lottery system, and then they roll the drum, and people kind of gasp when they get their seat, and it's kind of
how gross is that? It's a murder. It's like, it's gross. It's like, why are we having to do this?
I agree, it's gross.
As journalists,
and the rules are pretty clear that you have to. Reporters can open their laptops to take notes, but you cannot transmit out information during the hearing, and you can't report information until the break. And granted, I will say, it's a little confusing that you can have your laptop. I mean, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, the rule's clear, but I kind of get how some of this stuff.
I mean, you can't go and like take notes and then send out that information to somebody else. I mean, you just can't do that. Like, let's be real. You know, like, that's kind of common sense. If they're saying you can't have your phone out to live tweet everything that's going on, it would be the same thing as to sending notes to somebody else in real time while you're in that courtroom. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You can use your laptop to take notes. That's exactly what Lauren Collins doing, right? That's why we have very thorough notes, and she's able to produce them and post them immediately and very quickly. But if she was to like send stuff out to Taylor, another correspondent, you know, one of her teammates, like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. That's not right at all. So again, like, I get it. Everybody wants the scoop. Everybody wants the information. Everybody wants to be the first out here with all the information. But at the same time, like, yeah, Tammy, you just follow the freaking rules and respect the court. And that's it. Because the trial, this isn't even the trial, y'all. The trial's coming up. And if it's going to be like this, they're going to sit there and say no public seats for anybody. It'll just be family and that's it. And then legacy media will be in there. And we'll just have to wait for them and not hear from all these other content creators. We don't want that. Follow the freaking rules. And stop trying to find a loophole to get this stuff out to another content creator or to another, to your newspaper or whatever the heck it is, your blog or whatever like that. You know what I mean? It's not right. And it's screwing people up. It's screwing people over, and it's screwing the potential trial as well.
Be confusing, but there was someone in there who was transmitting out, who got called out.
Yes, so apparently yesterday, I guess, there was someone in the courtroom who had a Google Doc who was sharing it. She said in court she didn't realize she was sharing it, but then she did take responsibility after.
Stop. I didn't realize I was sharing it. Girl, you knew exactly what you were doing. Come on now. You know exactly what you're doing, girl. Stop.
Sharing it with a content creator who was then putting out live videos. And
Oh, wow. Wow. That's messed up. That's really messed up, y'all. That's not right.
I think what happened was a couple of YouTubers saw this, said something. The woman that runs the press office basically said her boss had showed her this like screenshot or something of the video, and I don't remember if you were inside at that moment yesterday, but all of a sudden she starts walking up and down the aisles, looking at our screens, and she's like, somebody's live, doing live emission, someone's live transmitting, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So this morning we walk in, and I had already heard who it was and what happened, and I'm just thinking it's all clear, they figured it out, whatever, it's on them, meaning the press office. But I was told, and it made me so mad, she was like, look, I don't know what's going to happen, you might not be able to have your laptop today because of this one person. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. Yeah. Like, if I can't organize that is how I'm able to get updates out
really
so
hard without the laptop.
It would be
I just thought that she was like talking to text or I was like, damn, she's doing these posts fast. Shoot, I even thought it was ChatGPT that she was using. I thought she was using AI. That's how fast how thorough and fast it's been, her posting these things on her Twitter, right? Or on her X. It's damn good reporting. It's because she has her laptop. And a lot of people have their laptop to be able to just sit there and just clickety clack. Stop sending out information to other people so that they can do real-time info before anybody else. Like, guys, come on, we need to be better than this. You know what I mean? That's bad. That's really bad. You know, it's really effed up, y'all. It's really effed up. I'm sorry. It's really effed up. Come on, y'all. Like, everybody else has to wait to get to their phone or get to a break to be able to put the stuff out. If you're not in that room, you're just going to have to wait for that person to transmit that information to you when they go into a break, and then you give out the information. And if you are a content creator that's doing that, it's a damn shame that you did that, okay? But also at the same time, it's like you still have your following. People are going to still want to hear what you have to say about it, even if it is 15 minutes after someone else posts something. People still want to hear you say it. It's because it's you saying it. It's you giving the news. Come on now. That's why everybody comes, you know, it's like why you guys keep coming back to this channel. You like how I give you guys the information, you know? If you don't like how I give you guys the information, then you just go read a newspaper. You know what I mean? You go read an article from the multitude of websites that are out there. You know what I mean? But you appreciate how I say things. And that's dope. I appreciate it. So it's the same thing. If I'm 30 minutes to an hour late to giving you guys information, you guys will still listen. You'll still pop on and take a listen because you support this channel. You support my content and you appreciate and like how I give you guys the news. It's for every other content creator that's out there as well. So if it means that you're 15 minutes late, 15 minutes behind on getting information, so be it. At the end of the day, you are screwing up the potential for other people or for the future of this trial. So it's just sad. It's sad. It's really not that important. It's really not that serious. You know what I'm saying? People will still wait to hear from you. Trust and believe. Whoever those content creators are. I don't know who they are, and nor do I even care. But like I said, think about what's going on for the future of this upcoming trial. This is just the preliminary, y'all. This is just the preliminary. We're not even at the mother-loving trial yet, son. So let's worry about that. Like, damn, son. Damn. It's a damn shame. But I get it. People want to get what they want out, but at the same time, I'm not for that. I'm going to see if Mark the Shark said anything. I don't think he said anything. Maybe this break was so short. Maybe it was so brief that because even Lauren Conlon, I don't even think she had time. We got something from Taylor. Let's take a look at Taylor's video as well.
Hi, I'm Taylor Priest with Los Angeles Magazine, and I am outside the courthouse on day 4 of David Anthony Burke's preliminary hearing. Here's a quick recap of everything we learned yesterday, along with what we think is going to happen today. So on day 3 of David's preliminary hearing, we learned more about his movements following Celeste's death. He was confirmed to have taken 3 trips to Santa Barbara, and specifically to a remote residential area. This was all confirmed through cell phone data and through data from his Tesla. We also learned more about DNA in the case. Samples of blood taken from the Tesla and from various items in the garage were confirmed to most likely be a match for Celeste. Now, one of the trash bags tested, that had 4 DNA samples on it, 2 of which were male, and 1 is confirmed to be David's DNA. So the defense alleges because not all of this DNA is coming from blood samples, it could have been placed there at any time. And Celeste's clothes were taken into evidence, but unfortunately, due to how deteriorated they were unable to be tested. Now today, we will be hearing from the medical examiner once again. He'll be finishing up his testimony, and we'll also be hearing from one more LAPD detective. We presume most likely this hearing is going to wrap up today. We have our reporter Lauren Conlon upstairs right now with Los Angeles Magazine, and she'll be providing a full video update.
And we already know about that. But let me see. I'm going to see if Trap Lord Ross or Trapmore Ross did anything. Just seeing if he's done anything yet. Hold on. So far, we don't have anything from him yet. But I'm sure we will hear something. I don't know if he's even in the room this time. He may have taken today off too. You never know. But there is something that I did want to pull up while we wait for more info, because they're going to be going into a lunch break any minute now. To be honest, they may be in a lunch break very, very soon. So we may be hearing from people fairly soon, because it's 4 minutes till noon over there. So they will most likely go into some sort of lunch break here shortly. So with that being said, I want to see what TMZ is saying. Let me see what TMZ is talking about. Let's see what's popping over here. 1 second. Okay, we got a few things. We got it's Charles, right? It's Charles Laboudier. Lots of Boudier. Let's take a look.
Day 3 of the preliminary hearing for David has wrapped up. This obviously the preliminary hearing is where the prosecutors are presenting evidence, as they have been all week, to show the judge that David should indeed stand trial for the murder of Celeste Rivas. And the testimony today from several LAPD criminalists got into bloodstains, or to be more precise, possible bloodstains found within the house. Also testimony about bloodstains found in David's Tesla, and some DNA mentioned here, DNA testing that was done on those stains, as far as the stains that were found within his car. Beth Silverman, the prosecutor, got into the bloodstains and said that in the stains that were found in David's car fit a single profile with one female, and Celeste is included in that profile. That is not saying that it is, those bloodstains are 100% Celeste, but they're saying she could be the person that those bloodstains, is connected to those bloodstains. Also, there was a testimony about possible bloodstains found within the house. And you had Blair Burke, who is David's defense attorney, pointing out that DNA, while you're hearing testimony about the DNA stains and that they could fit Celeste's profile, they could fit David's profile, she made a point of saying, look, DNA can be transferred very easily. You don't know when it was transferred. This is in David's house. There were a lot of people coming in and out of David's house. She is certainly raising the specter here of the fact that you have to be able to say that this is David's DNA, and we have not heard that testimony yet. The other thing that happened is, as this testimony is going on about Celeste's body, about the clothing items that were found, they talked a lot about the pool liner that was the inflatable pool, and the shards of this inflatable pool that were found within Celeste's remains and also her clothing. You had a criminalist saying that she could actually piece these things together like puzzle pieces to show the pool liner, shards of the pool liner. They did not say this, but what they seem to be setting up is that when Celeste was dismembered, it happened within this inflatable pool in the garage of David's home. This is all obviously very gruesome, as Celeste's family is there. There was a moment where Celeste's mother broke down. You can certainly understand that. She was very upset about some of this testimony. As for David, he was stone-faced through most of this. And that's not uncommon. That would be certainly something his defense attorney would say, you know, you don't want to show too much of a reaction to this. But this was a difficult day of testimony for Celeste's family to sit through. But their attorney told us that they want to be there. They need to show that they are fighting for justice for their daughter. And that's why they were there through all of this. Tomorrow, we think will be the last day of testimony in the preliminary hearing. And what you're going to hear more of this testimony from the prosecutors. They just need to convince the judge that David should be, that there's enough evidence for him to stand trial for Celeste's murder. We think that is clearly going to happen. What you're seeing and hearing from Blair Burke, David's defense attorney, is the beginning of what would happen in the trial stage, trying to create some doubt as to whether or not this DNA evidence, the blood evidence, possible blood evidence, is 100% connected to David. If we get to the trial stage, she just needs to create some doubt because, you know, that's what defense attorneys do in these cases. So she's starting to do that. We will see what happens in the next stage as we expect this to go to trial. But as we said, we fully expect that that David will be standing trial for the murder of Celeste Rivas.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment that this judge is going to be like, so when are we starting? That's basically it. He's done. He's cooked. It's a wrap. He's deep fried. Straight up broiled. Barbecued. It's a wrap for this guy. It's a wrap. This disgusting, disturbing individual and the things that this man has been, you know, that's being alleged of doing, and he did these things. But still the problem is did he do this alone? Did he do this alone? Did he do this alone? And again, it's still gonna bother me. Where did he end up taking her? Because remember, according to this medical examiner, he said that some of the drying of the skin could be that she had exposure to the sun. So could he have taken her out to air her out? Like took her outside, like took her somewhere he knew no one would be around, so he just moved her body somewhere outside to just kind of air her out, air out the car a little bit or something of that sort? I know that sounds insane, but what are the possibilities, right? This girl was undetected for several months. So it's a burning question for me, y'all. It's a burning question. Oh, man, this is insane. So sad and insane. I'm trying to see if there's any more information for now. I mean, we still have a lunch break here coming soon. That should be coming up here shortly. Let's take a look at this. This is from NBCLA.
Prosecutors are trying to prove to a judge that there is enough evidence to bring this case to trial. NBC4's Brittany Hope has been at the courthouse all week covering these proceedings. So, Brittany, you're there right now live with legal analyst Royal Oakes.
I am. Good morning, Royal. Thank you so much for waking up with us. The big question is, we have heard so much testimony and seen disturbing evidence, but do you think it is enough to bring this to a jury trial?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to hear from the medical examiner today. We're going to hear more gruesome testimony, but even based on what we've seen now, and when you've got the victim's body in your car, when you've got her DNA at your house, and when you have your credit card account ordering the burn bag, the cadaver bag, and also also the chainsaws. This clearly is enough to force him to go to trial.
So with that, and you just look at discourse online, the public is paying so much attention to this. And we have so much evidence. There is so much. Yesterday, a lot of forensic evidence that it really seemed to link David to this.
Let me just say this. Quantum, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. What I miss. I work in a pharmacy, so it's tough. It's all good. Honestly, just a real quick recap for everybody, okay? For those of y'all who are just getting in and all that. Okay, so the medical examiner has taken the stand. He's been testifying for the entire morning, from my understanding, unless they added somebody else in. We don't know yet. But there's about to be a lunch break here very shortly. But what we learned from this medical examiner is that he did this. I mean, that's basically the long and short of it. And he did this in such a grisly and gruesome way that I don't see prosecution not putting the DP on the table. I just don't see it. I don't see them not putting it on the table because of what he has done. This was premeditated. This is gruesome. This was inhumane. It's very disturbing. Okay. Jane, thank you so much. So I'll look at that here in a second. But yes, more information is coming out. Mark the Shark should be giving us an update here, or should be giving all of us an update here in a little bit. But this is all just really messed up. And so, yeah, he did this, y'all. He did this. And then they talked about DNA on found blood, basically, that what matched her DNA found in various areas in the actual garage that allegedly he did this in, dismantling her and everything. We still do not know who the other male DNA is that was found in this trash bag. There was DNA found of her on various items. DNA, trash bag filled with just trash, and 4 different individuals' DNA, including D4VD's DNA was in there as well. So again, he used a chainsaw, he cut her up, he used this inflatable pool. He had mats underneath the inflatable pool while he was taking her apart, and that's all conclusive from this medical examiner's investigation, right? So very disturbing stuff. So that's just a very quick wrap up. Let me hear a little bit more of this because it's very short, and then we're going to get into Mark the Shark.
What could the defense do? How could they say, hey, actually, this isn't your guy?
Well, they've tipped their hand already to a degree. What they're doing is chipping away and saying, hey, you obviously thought you had your man, but you excluded any other avenues of investigation. You figured David was guilty, but you didn't swab the car for DNA. You didn't swab the handles on the chainsaws for DNA. You just were focusing on him. And so they're trying to create some reasonable doubt. And the other thing is that a little visual aid might help. The Sadi defense. Some other dude did it. That may be where the defense is headed.
Some other dude did it. Yeah, Quantum. So he knew. So he wait. So he knew who she was. Okay, got it. Yeah. Pretty much, he did it. Basically, but his team is the Saudi approach. Some other dude did it, and it's not happening anytime soon, babies. It's not happening. Yeah, Oya is right. What in the heck is going on out here? Oya, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, guys, can you hit the like? Can you hit that like button down below? All right, you guys are getting the information. Just go over there, hit the like button down below. Can we get it to 1K? That would be greatly appreciated. Your boy's working hard out here in these streets. We're out here giving you the information that you need. All right, we got a lot going on here. All right, so please hit the like button down below. Crush it, do it, what it do. Okay, please and thank you. But it's crazy that they're out here saying, "Oh yeah, some other dude did it. You don't think it's possible that some other dude did it? Come on, y'all. Come on. He did this. He may not have done it alone, but he did it. I still am thinking that he did it alone. That's what I think. Because if he didn't do it alone, I think that there would be other people getting caught up in this by now. There may have other people known. There's other people that may have known that he did this. But did they help in dismantling him? I don't think so, but you never know. You never know. Let's continue.
Because their attitude would be, who could be so incredibly stupid as to kill somebody, chop them up, and put them in your own car and let the car sit so that it will be towed away and found, and then you toss her passport by the side of the road in Santa Barbara? It's almost, the defense might say, like nobody would be this stupid. Somebody.
But we're talking about Dookie face doo-doo head D4VD, though. You understand? Dookie face doo-doo head D4VD is dumb enough to do this. That's exactly what he did. But it's wild because his stupidity did not come back and bite him in the ass for several months. So he had the devil's luck on his side. All right? That's for sure. Quantum, thank you so much for the love. I think he did this alone unless Sheldon was there. I mean, maybe it was Sheldon that helped him maybe move the body around, stuff like that. But I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll get to Mark the Shark in a second. Thank you so much, Jane. But the thing is this. The fact that they're going to try to use the defense of some other dude did it, it is the dumbest defense I think they could ever try to pull out. But they're going to pull it out. They're going to pull this out and hope for a miracle. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be hoping for a mother-loving miracle. That some smoking gun evidence is going to exonerate this man. There's nothing that's going to exonerate him. Nothing. He did this. He's dumb. It just took a long time for the stupidity to bite him in the ass. That's it. It gave him several months, right? He had a couple months of quiet. Then her body was found. But then several months later, he finally got arrested. So he had a good portion of time where he was just chilling, y'all. Where he was just chilling. Sitting around playing Fortnite, scratching his nasty balls, smelling like Doritos. That's all he was doing. Maybe smoking a little bit. Maybe drinking. And just chilling in the cut. And then he finally got arrested. But he still had all that bread. Millions and millions of dollars in the bank. So it's not like he was like, oh no, what am I going to do about money? He had money. He had lots of money. So he could just, this is just like a extended vacation. And that's all he had to do. And all that time, he's probably going into his little makeshift studio trying to come up with his next song. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's crazy. All of those opportunities that he had, he destroyed it by making the worst decisions in the world. And that's before taking poor Celeste's life. That's before taking poor Celeste's life, guys. That's before. And then he made the worst decision, taking her life. And then he made the even worse decision, thinking that he could get away with it, which is just insane. Let's see what Mark the Shark got to say. Okay, he is here, so let's take a look. Moving it back.
The window of when she was killed, when she was last seen.
Here we go. Hit the like button down below, dag nabbit. And don't forget to subscribe.
For a second.
And please become
There we go.
a
I
member.
wasn't able to see my chat. That was weird.
Please become a member if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Really appreciate the support.
As I tweeted earlier, or whatever you want to call it, I missed the fight. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna do this real quick because I do gotta go to lunch because I haven't ate. So, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I just got out of the courtroom. We're on lunch break right now, and it's been some pretty heavy evidence. The court showed dismemberment of Celeste Rivas in the autopsy table, dismembered. I mean, it looked like a scene from Out of Dexter. That's how I would describe it, where her limbs were cut. If you guys defer to the medical examiner's autopsy report, you'll see the cuts that were made to Celeste Rivas, and today we were presented with that evidence. Exhibits 25, number 25. Let me see, I got it down. I'm just a little bit lost for words, guys, because it's very graphic, and up until we haven't seen any of that, and we were expecting that. So I was meant to be prepared for this today, but you know, you're not fully prepared to what you're about to see. There's people that are used to seeing, who are in law enforcement, that are used to seeing this type of evidence. I'm not used to it, so it's a little rough, but at the same time, I mean, this is true crime, and there's a couple things. Let me go to my notes real quick. So Beth Silverman lost her phone. She's looking for her phone. If you guys found it, make sure you guys return it to Lost and Found. She lost her phone.
Oh wow. Let me just pause this really quick.
Let me look at my.
Let me just because he's doing his notes thing. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Let me just say this really quick before it disappears on my tuchus. First off, welcome to the family, Quantum. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate you. All right. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, they talking about Dylan. You got jokes today, I see. Okay, I see you, Dylan. Okay. Thank you, man. Yeah. Yeah. I'm working. Hey, looks like maybe next week, it looks like I'll be starting to build a wall. We're gonna build a wall. So we're gonna be building a wall. Finally, it looks like next week. God willing, dagnabbit, we're at least gonna get the wall built. Okay, starting next weekend, if I'm correct. Like I said, God willing. All right. But let's see. Bellin, thank you so much. For gifting 10 whole memberships. Dang, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Welcome to the family, all 10 of you guys. Real quick, all I'm asking for you guys to do is pay it forward, all right? Bellin just gave you some love. Bellin Nicole just gave you some love, okay, by giving you guys a membership. All I'm asking for you guys to do is pay it forward. Open the door for somebody. Do something nice for somebody, okay? Buy somebody a drink, okay? Or take a friend out for lunch or for some coffee. Call your mama. In fact, call your mother-loving daddy. Okay? If you're lucky enough to have them in your life, call your parents. Okay? I know some of them can be long-winded. You're like, oh damn. This 5-minute phone call gonna be 3 hours now. But still, you could try to wrap it up and be like, oh no, I got things to do. Love you, mom. Gotta go. You know what I mean? You could do that. I'm running into a meeting or something. I don't know. But at the same time, just call your mama and call your daddy. Okay? I know some daddies went to get a pack of cigarettes and never came back. I understand that. Okay? That struggle is real. But at the same time, if he's still in your damn life, call him too, damn it. That's all I'm asking for. Pay it forward. Do something nice. Do something nice. Forgive that person. How about that? Forgive that person. All right? Just saying. Anyway. I digress. Thank you so much for becoming members, okay? Thank you. Yeah, you know what? Nah, everybody, you know, Ella, I'm going to say this, Ella. You know, you say call your mama. No, call your daddy. Call your daddy. Mama gets calls all the time. No, I'm just kidding. Call mom too, okay? But I mean, if he's still on this planet, all right, he's still doing his thing, all right? Call him. Just call him. Now, I understand some dads are like, hi, Dad, how you doing? Yep. How's your day today? Well, good. Okay. Great talking to you. Yep. Click. You know what I'm saying? And that happens. Some fellas are very little words. Very little words. And that's okay. But he'll appreciate it. He'll have a tear in his eye. A tear going down his face. Like that Native American in that litter. That commercial with the litter. Tear, just one single tear. Or like Denzel Washington in Glory. You know what I'm saying? You won't see it because you'll be on the phone, but there will be a tear going down as he's going, yup. In fact, he's, yup. You know what I mean? But you don't see that he's emotional. You understand? Call your dad. That's all I'm saying. Let's hear what Mark got to say.
Notes real quick. All right, here we go. Then I met some people from the missing and murdered indigenous woman. Looking at my notes. They mentioned braces. Celeste Rivas had braces. Trauma to the body. Let's see, markedly decomposed. Okay, so yeah, Dr. Ho, H-O, that's his name, came back on the stand. Medical examiner. So he was pointing out some things too that were telling. Let's see. Oh, this is one of the biggest clues too. One of the biggest things that I took out of it too was that there is like in Dr. Ho's opinion, he was saying that it's been weeks since Celeste Rivas has been deceased at the time of the discovery at the tow yard. If you guys remember, September 8th. So he's saying in his opinion that it is weeks that she's been dead. So that's important to the timeline because there's some people that were speculating that it was, you know, at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, or weeks before. And so those three theories were out there. So we got to hear from the medical examiners. He's saying weeks, and he's saying weeks technically because there's weeks and months. So he's not saying months, and he's saying that he was using that terminology just to be technical. So weeks. So that was a pretty interesting information to. It's important for the timeline. It's important for the timeline because if it is months or years or et cetera, it shortens up the timeline. It shortens up the window of when she was killed, when she was last seen, and so that narrows it down. So let me look at my notes. So there were photographs taken. Oh, the cuts were smooth too. That was also mentioned that the cuts that were made to Celeste Rivas were smooth, and there was tiny blue fragments of material similar to the pool, blue pool that we saw, that we have been hearing about earlier, yesterday and the days before. That was found in the cuts too, so that was interesting too. And also there was larger fragments found too. So not only did they find small particles, small objects of blue material, but they also found larger fragments that were also collected. So there were larger fragments of blue material. And the prosecution asked if that was similar to the blue inflatable pool, and they said yes, it's similar. And not only that, but they matched up some of those fragments to the pool, like a puzzle. I mean, it fit perfectly. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's a huge piece of evidence there. Let's see. Also, they were talking about the power it needs to cut through bone, and the power that it needed for the dismemberment of Celeste Rivas. That power tools, in Dr. Ho's opinion, had to have come from power tools, because scalpels and knives could not cut through bone like they saw of how her body was cut.
And I think that's a very, very big piece of information. Like, we cannot sit there and go, okay, because you look at all the items that he bought online, all the things that he got. It's clear that 2 of those chainsaws were not used, but he bought a 3rd one. And I think he bought a more powerful one, because maybe he realized, maybe some research, that kind of thing. He realized that maybe the little dainty black and pink chainsaw that he got, or the red and black one, the other one that he bought with the pink and black one, I think he literally was like, nah, I think I need something more powerful. So then he upgraded and he bought a bigger one, right? Maybe a more expensive one, so that he could do what he needed to do. Now, the medical examiner is basically saying, yeah, you are not going to be able to cut through this kind of, you're not going to be able to cut through bone like this with just like the swing of an axe, right? You're going to need something that's going to be powerful. So there you have it, right? So he went, okay, and got a Makita. Yeah, he got that Makita. He got something that literally is, a strong, industrial strength type of power tool. He's not playing. He wasn't playing. He wanted to make sure he was able to do this without having to do it twice, right? And maybe he bought the chainsaws. They came in to, they showed up to his home. He opened them up and he looked at them and he's like, is this really going to do the job? Maybe he did a little Google. He's like, nah, I need something stronger. Maybe he's like, man, these are flimsy little, made from China, maybe, And he's like, F it. I need something that's going to bing, bang, boom. I only got to cut once in that area, not consistently, not sawing back and forth like this. Just one boom right through like butter. You know what I mean? I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here, right? Crazy.
So they said that power tools like a saw, power tools like a chainsaw, circular saw, would be used to cut through the bone. Again, we saw Celeste Rivas. They showed pictures of her decomposed body. It was badly decomposed, cut, and it was put together so it looked like her, like a body, but it was like individual pieces, right, of like the leg, the thigh, the torso, but it was laid out on a table, extremely decomposed. They also showed us the front of her too. There's the front. They opened her up like that.
I'm going to pause this really quick. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Welcome, JHS. Welcome to the family. Appreciate you coming in and supporting. Thank you so much. All right.
And there was a picture of that. Again, trigger warning, guys. So they showed a picture of this opening, opened up, and the chest plate was out, and they showed organs, decomposed organs, with a wound in there. So that was showed. That was pretty graphic. That was graphic.
So in other words, he attacked her, and he attacked her. The blow that he made to her body, he wanted to make sure she wasn't going to survive it. That's basically it. He wanted to make sure she was not going to survive it. This wasn't a situation where it was like, oops, a little paper cut. No. He went in and he made sure that it was a forceful attack to make sure she would not survive it. That's it. That's it. And that's what we realized in that breakdown of the, of this autopsy, right?
When they were showed it, the people inside the courtroom gasped because the slides were being shown pretty quickly, and so it kind of caught us by surprise. There's supposed, I don't know how that happened, but just a bunch of the slides were shown at us like rapid fire of Celeste Rivas' people's body, open body, the fingers too, they were gone. So they showed the left hand, I'm sorry, like this. Let me see if I can show you guys. Like these were gone, like that.
Yeah.
So they showed these ones were gone. They were amputated, like that. So these were amputated. They showed that part. They were amputated. They said amputated. And so they showed these fingers. These fingers were like crunched up together as well. But these fingers look like they just called it amputated. So we saw that too.
And I'm wondering if he used another tool aside from the actual chainsaw, because that's such a small area. You would need something smaller, maybe a couple, like scissor type, but you still got to cut through bone. So, you know what I mean? So I am kind of curious what he used to do that. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like they're saying the chainsaw didn't. If he used that chainsaw, that's very precise. It's a very precise cut. You don't think that it would cut a little bit, a little nicking would go off and cut a little bit of this finger right here? You know what I mean? Right next to the ring finger? I don't know, but that's, sheesh, man. It's crazy, man. It's nasty work, y'all. Yeah, the Makita. Yeah, would he actually use, could he actually use that Makita to do that precise of a smaller location like that? Or would he use another saw of some sort to cut through here? But he only bought, some pruning shears maybe? Yeah, maybe some pruning shears. But that tool's missing too. If he was to use shears, right? Crazy.
And then we saw also another picture that was of the shush tattoo, SHHA ... on the index finger, like this on the table. It was like that, and you saw the shush tattoo right here. That one you could see really clearly, and that one kind of looked newer. Or I don't know if it was because it was from black ink, but it was like that on the table, and it looked like somebody was holding it like that with the blue glove. So it was like that, and they showed the shush tattoo. I mean, it looked clear as day, like that. So they had the hand, and they had the left hand like that, with the fingers amputated, like that. I mean, it was pretty graphic. It was pretty graphic, but they showed that exhibit too. Again, they showed the exhibit of her chest opened up completely, the chest bone out, and then she had the organs right here with a penetrating wound. They kept calling it a penetrating wound.
Piece of trash. Dookie face.
They also showed
doo-doo head.
They were also showing other exhibits too. So let me look at my notes. So yeah, clean cut surfaces, smooth, ring finger, left hand finger, markings. Yeah, the tattoos. I talked about that. The shush tattoo. So here's something interesting, okay? Here's something interesting. Of all the pictures that were shown, David was looking down, okay? He was like this, kind of looking down on a piece of paper or something. That's what I'm about to talk about, which is, yeah, that's a good question. The only time that David was locked into the pictures was when they started to show the shush tattoo, her hands, and the left fingers. He was fixated on it. That's my interpretation of it. That's my opinion of when I saw him looking at the pictures and looking up at the pictures. He was very locked in to those pictures. Out of all the pictures that he was looking at, those ones are the ones that he was locked in.
There might be memories that sparked from him. Maybe that's why he was so fixated. That could be it too. Like he was like, "Oh, I remember when we got those tattoos." You see what I'm saying? That could be it. It's freaking crazy. But maybe he was like, "Yeah, I remember. Oh, memory lane." Ugh, it's weird, but maybe.
The other ones, to me, I saw him keep looking down at a piece of paper, looking down at the desk. But when those pictures came up of the ring fingers amputated, the pinky finger amputated, and the shush tattoo being shown side by side on the screen, he locked in. He was locked in. He was like zeroed in, mesmerized, and I was like, whoa. So that's the only time that I've ever seen him with that type of look, looking at those pictures. I don't know what it is about those pictures that he thought was interesting, or I can't even imagine, right? I don't even have words to try to describe what's going on his head, but that's one thing that did stand out to me when I saw him look at those pictures, because when those pictures were coming up, we were looking at the pictures, and then we were looking at a reaction of his. We're looking at the pictures of the open chest, of Celeste Rivas' open chest, and then we were looking at him. And then once those pictures came up of the hands, that's when he started to just kind of lock in. For whatever reason, I don't know. But when those pictures came up, he was locked in, he was interested, and you could tell he felt some type of way. I don't know what that is. I don't know what to make of it. So
memories, man. I truly think they're memories. Truly, I think they're just memories. Like the tattoo probably is a memory for him. The fact that they were talking about the other tattoo that she had on her other hand that was cut off, that his name tattooed on her other finger and all that. I think those things, yeah. I think all those things happened, and they're significant memories for him. So maybe he was fixated on those because he's just remembering taking a trip down his very illegal memory lane with Celeste Rivas. Maybe.
It's just my observation of him being in the courtroom. And today he seems a lot less like, hey, what up, dude? How you doing? Good. Good to see you. And today he seems like he lost some color on his self. Like today he doesn't seem confident. Today he seems a little bit under the weather, underreported, underfed, or he just seems a little bit today like maybe he aged like 5 years. Like he ate like overnight, like within 24 hours. So that's my interpretation. That's how I seen him today. He didn't seem chill. He didn't seem matter of fact. He just seemed, he seemed almost drained. And it looked like he aged like 5 years or something. But I mean, it was interesting, man. It was interesting to see him today, and that's one of the things that stood out to me, was apart from everything else, was his reaction to those pictures. Let me look at my notes real quick, guys. Oh, the left eye also was not available. They couldn't find the left eye or the fingers either, which was very disturbing. So autopsies were shown. Let's see. Oh, no blood, no presence of blood. That's important because what the prosecution is trying to hint at is that she bled out, and that blood and that inflatable pool was, in my opinion, was used to collect the blood, because at the time of autopsy there was no blood. There's no presence of blood. So that was another huge thing that I caught. Man, it's been wild stuff. Let's see.
Sad.
Yeah, I got a lot of notes. Took a lot of notes, so give me 1 second. Yeah, 71 pounds too at the time of the autopsy. Very good. As you guys can see, there's a lot of reporters here, a lot of information coming to you guys. Let's see. So they kept calling it a penetrating wound. They can't pinpoint. Okay, let me say this. It is unknown what object was used for the those wounds that she had. So the medical examiner kept calling it penetrating wound, but it is unknown what was used, the speed of what was used, the object that was used, and the time that it was used, or the time that between the wounds happened. Here's something that's gonna, and then I got to get going because then I got to look at my notes again. But what the defense was trying to insinuate, in my opinion, was that Celeste Rivas did this to herself, because they brought up if the doctor had any history of Celeste Rivas drug use, alcohol use. If the doctor, he said no. If the doctor, the medical examiner had, and this is cross, and that if he had any history or talked to the parents in regards to her characteristics, okay, of Celeste Rivas, and they asked him to about suicide, about do you know her history of suicide or suicidal tendencies, or you know, that suicide word kept being thrown in there by the defense. So the doctor's like, no, you know, we base it on my findings, we base it on what is there, you know, facts and what we work on and my expertise. But no, he's like, no, I don't have that information. So that was interesting, man. And so we looked at each other when they were talking about that. The reporters and I looked at each other. Some of the YouTubers looked at each other, and I went like this, like. And then one of the reporters looked at me, and she's real cool. She went like this to me, like that, when the defense started to bring that up. And they were insinuating, again, in my opinion, that they were begging the question, right? They were asking Dr. Ho, they were asking him, she said, is this the type of injury that the victim did to herself? Is it possible to know, or how do we know that she didn't do this to herself?
Okay, that is a good question to ask. I mean, it's a fair. I'm not saying it's a good question, but it's a fair question to ask for sure. But at the same time, you know what I mean? And Janobi, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. And the lawyers wonder why they can be so hated. Yeah. Because, like, what kind of question is that? I get to ask that question, you know, but I feel like that's something that's what the defense is going to do, right? They're going to try to find any way to keep, reasonable doubt on the table that maybe he didn't do this and that somebody else did this. But then at the same time, how did she get dismantled and then put into your car, bruh? How did that happen as well? Now, it could be mutilation of a body. Sure, he may not have done this, like taking her life, but at the same time, though, that's not what it looks like. You see what I'm saying? That's not at all what it looks like. And if she had any type of ideations of any kind, I feel like prosecution would have already presented that in some way, shape, or form. Actually, if they believe that she just unalived herself kind of thing, then that would already be part of this, and he would only be on trial for mutilation. You see what I'm saying? So again, the fact that they're putting out that question, sure, I guess there are no dumb questions, but it is a dumb question. That's them grasping at straws and hoping for a miracle to happen. Okay? But let me get this other super chat here really quick. Where did it go? There it is. The defense, the Gypsy, thank you so much. Appreciate it. The defense is grasping at straws at this point. Yes, they are. Like, really? You're really going to ask this question? Could it be possible that she turned the knife onto herself? Like, come on, guys. It's dumb. I get the question. I get that they're trying to put in reasonable doubt, but that is just a stretch, y'all. But let's continue.
Stab wounds. And so the medical examiner came back and said, well, and let me use the term he used, because I don't want this is he said, okay, here we go. And he came back and he said there would be hesitation marks for self-inflicted wounds. Hesitation marks. Okay, that's huge, because that goes against a theory that she would do this to herself. But on top of all the evidence, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys to come up with your own conclusions.
He did
I'm just
it.
reporting, and I put a little bit of my opinion in here too. And
he did it.
They were insinuating self-inflicted wounds, stab wounds, and but due to the decomposition, due to the bad decomposition, some of the data wasn't available because due to the decomposition. But ultimately, the medical examiner said that this was caused by self-force injury is the cause of death. Force injury. So let me say that again. I want to be correct. Penetrating injury. I'm sorry. Penetrating injury was the cause of death. And so the defense, man, the defense is asking some. Oh my gosh, man, it's a little frustrating sometimes, because the defense is like, how do we not know that these stab wounds or penetrating wounds were caused after the fact? And the doctor went, no, the death was caused because of this, because of the penetrating wounds. The cause of death was the penetrating wounds, not after.
Like, the reason why we're originally here in this room, in this courtroom, is because he stabbed her first. That's the reason why we here. If he didn't stab her, we wouldn't be here. She'd be alive. How do we not know? It's like, shut up. Jen, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. So she stabbed herself, fell on chainsaws that were on the Tesla. Yep. Then her body fell in the Tesla. Yeah. And she cut off 2 of her own fingers. Yeah. That's what I mean. What did she do? She just happened to stick herself and then fall into a Tesla filled with chainsaws? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he didn't bother to open the trunk, not once, or even wonder, man, why does this car smell so bad? Did I run over a skunk or something? What's up with this? It smells bad in here. What? You're not doing your due diligence to find out where it is? Wondering maybe you, I don't know, left a I don't know. Maybe some French fries fell behind the car somewhere, something like that. It's just smelling rotten or something like that. You know what I mean? You're not going to do your due diligence and look around and try to see where the smell's coming from inside your car. Open the front of your car and go, oh my good Lord, what is this? Oh, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You're not doing that. So stop. And then you didn't touch the car for at least a month and a half-ish. You just parked it on the side of the road in July. Didn't touch it at all. You're just like, what comes of it, comes of it. I don't care. I don't care. That's what he did. With a whole bunch of air fresheners in it. Instead of him going in, now you lazy mother lover. If you sitting there going, man, this car smell, let's just say he guilty as hell. He did this, but I'm just saying, what if, let's just play this idea. What if he didn't know that she was in the front trunk of this car the entire time? In his mind, he's like, where could my girlfriend be the entire time for several months, right? He just went and parked the car out on the side of the road. Didn't even go and touch it ever again. He didn't have to go out and grab some food. He didn't have meetings to go to, with the record label. He didn't have to go and record music or anything like that for over those several weeks that car was off on the side of the road just sitting there collecting dust. Stop. Just shut up. Shut up. He did this and he knew what he was doing. And like I said, you're not going to sit there and wonder where the hell's that smell coming from. You're not going to go, well, I better just move the car out of this garage because it smells so bad. No, you're going to look into it and try to figure out what it is. You are the laziest mother lover if you are in there and you're literally, you know that the car is smelling and you're not trying to find out where the smell is coming from. You know, we all have had our fair share of smelly cars in our lives, right? Where you just accidentally leave something in the car. You forget that you went to the grocery store and for some odd reason you thought you got all the groceries out, but you happen to leave a bag that contains, I don't know, let's just say chicken in the back of your car, right? Then you get in the car and you're like, woo, why does it smell like cat food and ass in here? What is going on? Why does it smell so bad in here? What the hell's going on? You're not going to sit there and go, well, since it smells so bad, I'm just going to go to the local store real quick, the local quickie mart or the local gas station and get a whole bunch of air fresheners and just throw them in the room and throw them in the car. Just throw them in the car. Hopefully the smell will go away. But the smell doesn't go away now, does it? What do? You just buy more air fresheners in hopes that the smell's going to go away? No, you go in there. You try to find out what the hell the smell's coming from. And then you find out, oh, damn, I didn't realize that I accidentally left this, this recently bought, now spoiled chicken that's in the back of my ride. Damn, that's the source of the smell. Now throw it away. Now you get the air fresheners. Now you maybe go and clean it out so you can make sure the smell is gone. Maybe you open the windows to air out that mother lover. Spray the Febreze. And you realize to never do that again. You don't just go, well, damn, I might as well just take this whole car, pull it out, put it on the side of the road. I don't need this car no more. Just let it sit there, collect dust. Woo, it smells so bad. I could get another car. No big deal. Hell is wrong with you. So again, you can miss me with all the nonsense. You can miss me with that logic. And if she was to turn the knife on herself and she did this to herself, exactly what Messi just said. Why not call 911 immediately? Why not? So again, you can't tell me that she just stuck herself and then as she's falling back, whoa, there's a front trunk of a Tesla just conveniently wide open and there's a whole bunch of chainsaws on and they're rearing and she just fell into it and just chopped up into pieces and then happened to fall ever so conveniently into a body bag and then fell into another bag that was in the front trunk of the Tesla too. And then the front trunk of the Tesla slammed shut. Chainsaws disappear. They just somehow materialized and then evaporate out of thin air, vanish as the front trunk of this Tesla is shut and closed. Come on, guys. Come on now. Come on. The defense is trying, like, is there a possibility that ancient aliens were involved? Shut up.
Oh. Man, I just, the defense is reaching, man, at this point. They are reaching, in my opinion. So they're trying to catch this, like, I get it. Reasonable doubt, I get it. But it's not, yeah, they're just grasping. They're grasping for anything. They're trying to catch anything. And it's like, for me, I feel like they should be doing a better job at really forcing some of the other issues and really pushing for his innocence and really pushing for, if what they said is true, that he's innocent. And that's your defense? That maybe this is caused by Celeste Rivas herself? That's your doubt? Suicide? Or that it was caused after the fact? After she was dead? Post-mortem?
Womp womp.
Unbelievable. But anyways, guys, I gotta go to lunch. They're live, but I'm gonna go grab some lunch real quick. So I'm gonna keep you guys updated. I gotta look at my notes. I got a refresher.
Okay, so he's gonna go and look at his notes and all that and all that. Lauren Collin did come up with some updates, so we're gonna take a look at that as well. Very interesting. Okay. And Lauren Collin's gone. She bounced after during this lunch break. So she in fact she just said this. When I left the courthouse, or when I left the courtroom to head to the airport, so she's heading back home. Celeste's parents were outside waiting in the hallway with the translator. Thank goodness. So apparently, I think they stepped out of the room so they didn't have to hear all of the medical examiner stuff. And I don't blame them. I would have been outside too. Really sad. But we got some updates here. So after the morning break, medical examiner Dr. Ho resumes testimony. Trigger warning again. See second tweet for a full update. Okay. So, of note, there has been no evidence of a rift between the ME's office and LAPD or DA's office yet. Remember, there was a lot of back and forth with this, with the LAPD and the medical examiner's office, remember? And LAPD was trying to stop them from releasing information, and then they were denying certain things that the medical examiner's office was saying, and LAPD is like, no, that's not accurate at all, and all that stuff. Remember all that stuff, the back and forth? Oh, she was thawing, you know what I mean? Like she was frozen and she was partially thawed and all that stuff. Remember all that crap that happened back in the day? Yeah. So there was allegedly a rift between the LAPD, DA's office, and the medical examiner's office. Very interesting. So the defense strategy appears to insinuate that Celeste may have done this to herself. I left the courtroom around, at 11:45 a.m. Okay, so Taylor, all right, of LA Mag will continue today's coverage. I will have a video shortly. So a video should be up at some point here. All right. Dr. Ho testified the manner of death as homicide. Asked what that means, Ho explained that manner of death is a public health classification, and homicide refers to death caused at the hands of another person. All right, which we already know. If you're a true crimer, you already know what homicide is. Okay, so Ho testified. Yes. And Ho testified the cause of demise was multiple penetrating injuries, explaining that multiple means more than just one penetrating wound. So she had 2 penetrating wounds, guys. Remember that. Prosecutor Beth Silverman asked whether the overall circumstances of the case, including the dismemberment and concealment of the body, factored into his determination. He said yes, along with the lack of any other responsible explanation for the demise, for the death. Ho testified it is standard practice to perform toxicology testing during an autopsy because there was no actual blood specimen available due to the advanced decomposition. Toxicology testing was performed using liver tissue. Ho testified a trace amount of ethanol, alcohol, was detected in the liver, but the level was just above the laboratory's limit of detection. He explained the alcohol level was so low that it did not contribute to her demise, and said it could be explained by post-mortem decomposition. Toxicology also detected benzos while testing for methamphetamine. While testing for methamphetamine was inconclusive, so they detected benzos, so benzodiazepine, okay, but no meth. There you go. Ho testified that substance did not play any role in her demise and did not believe toxicology contributed to her cause of demise. So in other words, she didn't OD, she didn't drink something that could have been poisoned or anything like that. There was benzos in her system, allegedly, but they're saying that it was not a large amount of liquor that was in, or alcohol that was in her system, and that this is not in any way, shape, or form how she left this earth. Cross-examination by defense attorney Bednarski. So Ho testified he finalized and signed the autopsy report in December of 2025. After finalizing the report, Ho said he reviewed an investigator's report prepared by the ME investigator, Tapia, and did not review a criminalist report because he did not believe one had been provided. Ho testified it is common for detectives to attend autopsies, as the detectives attend Celeste's. Asked whether investigators discussed details of the case with him before he finalized his report, Ho testified he did not recall any specific conversations and said investigators had provided very limited information at that stage of investigation. Bednarski asked whether there is a professional standard requiring medical examiners to render opinions to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Ho testified he is not aware of a specific formal standard, explaining such opinions are based on training and experience. Regarding his testimony that Celeste had been gone for at least weeks, Ho said he was confident making that statement based on the degree of decomposition, but could not be more precise, noting that weeks could also encompass months. True. Ho confirmed there was no liquid blood remaining in the body due to the advanced decomposition. Ho testified, and of course she was dismantled too. Let's not forget that too. She was dismantled. She was taken apart. So a good portion of that blood, a large portion of that blood, would have been caught in that kiddie pool, and that's it, right? And then he would have drained it or done something with however he got rid of the blood. He did something, right? So Ho testified Celeste's liver weighed 225 grams during the autopsy, while noting a normal adult liver weighs substantially more, though he did not recall the exact average. Bednarski noted the 71-pound weight listed in the autopsy reflected the weight of the decomposed remains, not Celeste's weight while alive. He agreed. Yeah, she was decomposed. Like, she probably was like, maybe 110 pounds, maybe. You know what I mean? 120. You never know, right? So he agreed. So she lost significant amounts of weight because of the decomposition. And I think we all knew that, all right? Asked why it took approximately 3 months to finalize the autopsy report, he testified he was waiting for ancillary, I can't say it. Okay, ancillary, good Lord, testing, including toxicology, so he could consider and rule out alternative causes of demise before reaching his final conclusions. Okay, ancillary. There we go. I can't say that word for some weird reason. All right. Ancillary testing. Moving on. Ho tested the toxicology results. He testified, the toxicology results did not support an overdose as the cause of demise, which Bednarski inquired about. He also agreed, just as decomposition can affect anatomical findings, it can potentially affect toxicology results as well, or, as he stated, potentially. Interesting. Now, moving on. The defense attorney, Bednarski, appeared to suggest the possibility of Celeste, that maybe she did this to herself. We got to use these code words, okay? Questioning Dr. Ho about whether the medical evidence alone could rule out that scenario. She then asked whether background information about a decedent, okay, such as whether the person had ideations, violent, or used substances, can be helpful during a death investigation. He answered potentially. Ho testified he did not interview Celeste Rivas' family members about her personal history or characteristics. Ho agreed that while he knew Celeste had been dismembered, he could not determine the precise timing of the two fatal penetrating wounds. Asked whether the wounds could have occurred seconds apart, Ho answered yes. Ho also testified he could not determine which wound occurred first. So the one up here and then the one here, he doesn't know which one happened first, right? Bednarski then asked whether Ho could determine whether Celeste herself was holding the instrument that caused the wounds. Ho answered no. When asked whether it was possible she could have been holding the weapon, he testified that is a consideration, but explained that in a self-done injury, okay, medical examiners often look for hesitation marks or superficial wounds. Bednarski concluded by asking whether Ho knew the exact circumstances under which the wounds occurred. Ho replied correct. Let me say that again. She concluded by asking whether Ho knew the exact circumstances under which the wounds occurred. He said yes, he said correct, indicating he could not determine those circumstances from the medical evidence alone. Bednarski then asked whether the autopsy findings allowed him to determine whether there had been a struggle before her demise. Because of the advanced decomposition of the remains, Ho testified he was unable to determine whether there had been evidence of a struggle. There also seemed to be mention of a possible GSW, gunshot wound, but the same wound was also consistent with sharp force injury. They also seem to be mention of a possible gunshot wound, but the same wound was also consistent with sharp force injury. That's very interesting. So is it possible that he pulled the trigger on her now too? That's fascinating. That's very fascinating. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, clearly it sounds like to me he used a knife. But, of course, they're just asking, could it be possible that that he could have pulled the trigger on her? But then that's the thing. Then if that's the case, where's that weapon too? If it was a GSW. But that would be insane if that were the case. Huh. Let us continue on. Why would they say, I don't know. That seems a little bit odd, but I got questions. We got Brian Enton in the house. we're gonna play that too.
Hey guys, so it's day 5 of the David hearing, accused of murdering Celeste Rivas Hernandez in Los Angeles. It continues to get more graphic. The medical examiner has been on the stand. I'm just looking back at the notes. Showed really graphic images again of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, of her amputated left hand. Showed the left ring and pinky fingers amputated. Amputated right index finger with the tattoo, which remember matches a tattoo also that David has. Both of those photos were taken at the tow yard. Prosecutors also showed a photo of Rivas's decomposed corpse on the medical examination table. And again, I'm sorry, I know this stuff is like rough, but this is what's happening in court. He described it as severely decomposed, multiple dismemberment sites, said the left eye was absent. There was liquidation, soft tissue. He said that there was a distinct smell that they could even smell down the hallway in the medical examiner's office. He said that there appeared to be penetrating wounds, so this is important, compatible with sharp force injury, which goes to cause of death. And he said that there were fragments in the knee that matched what could possibly be fragments from David's kiddie pool that we've talked about, where prosecutors believe the dismemberment may have happened. This is also important. Toxicology did not indicate death from alcohol or drugs. I also spoke with a forensic pathologist about all of this. I was in the courtroom and they showed the photos of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and she was dismembered. There were several of her arms in one bag and her head and her torso in another, and fingers cut off. But you also couldn't tell, for me as a regular person, I couldn't even tell really like what I was looking at, and they talked a lot about a lot of fluids, and it wasn't a pretty.
So unfortunately, when we talk about advanced decomposition, it is pretty gruesome, like to the point that it still shocks me. And you have to remember, my daughter's 12 and a half. So as she gets older, these sort of cases where it's a teenage girl gets closer and closer to home. But in any stage of life, when the body is decomposed, it is no longer recognizable as a human, and that's really the hardest part. How did they identify her? I know she had like a very telltale tattoo. But it is horrific.
I mean, again, you got the tattoos, they were able to get the DNA off of a fingernail or a toenail, if I'm correct. And then they were able to go, oh, yep, this is all her. I don't think that's much, that's how they did it, right? Again, this is... This guy's trash, man. This guy's trash. Dookie face doo-doo head. Dookie face doo-doo head D4VD. I need to turn that into a t-shirt, I swear to God. What a piece of trash. Okay? What a piece of mother-loving trash. Just saying that. But I digress. I'm checking to see if Taylor had any new information. Okay, so concluding the cross-examination, we got more. This is from Taylor, so shout out to Taylor from LA Mag, okay? She entered the courtroom at approximately 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at the time that Lauren left. And during the cross-examination by defense attorney Marilyn Bednarski, the question of a possible GSW was clarified by Dr. Ho. So Bednarski asked extensive questions about the penetration, would to the, what the penetration would do to the liver, and asked multiple times about the diagram, which could not be seen in the images of both the liver and the torso that were shown. Bednarski said penetration wounds were typically estimated in the lower range of measurement. When shown the stack of photos by the defense, Ho said the photos would not be able to demonstrate the wound track, and that was done through an autopsy. Defense pushed back, I guess, asking if he recalled any pictures that would show the path, and he said there was not. Ho was pressed on the state of the lungs, which were severely decomposed. He testified the lungs appear to be intact, but said due to the condition of the body, it could be possible that there were injuries that would not be seen due to the decomposition, of course. Bednarski questioned Ho on whether or not he could prove if blood from the wounds bled externally or internally, asking if there is any physical evidence to substantiate that any blood exited the body. And Dr. Ho said there is nothing he can point to that would disprove that. Defense pointed to multiple linear abrasions on Celeste's right hand, which Dr. Ho said were so superficial and best described as scrapes. Defense asked Ho to clarify that it would not be determined what caused these. It could not be determined what caused these, and he said correct. So it could have been anything to have these little scrapes on her hand. It could be defensive wounds. She could have, after he attacked her, she could have been trying to get away from him when he attacked her. I don't know. Anything's possible, right? Dr. Ho clarified a previous statement about a possible gunshot. He stated that there was cortical disruption of ribs, but cannot determine the cause. The reference to the gunshot was that it could be anything, but gunshot was possible. Interesting. And additional testing would be necessary to determine the cause. The defense pushed, saying that there was no penetration object found to prove a gunshot. And Dr. Ho said, correct. The defense asked if there was any evidence to suspect a gunshot. And Ho said, I have no way to prove it. It's only speculation. Graphic images shown of hand and severed fingers. Bednarski pointed out a black plastic bag next to the hand and asked if the bag was brought to the autopsy. Dr. Ho said he didn't know, and he was only presented the body. Defense asked if the criminalist briefed Dr. Ho before the actual autopsy, and he said no. Bednarski questioned if Dr. Ho's office maintained evidence in biohazard bags, and he said he would have to refer to the criminalist. Defense asked if the body bag and other evidence was still in the office's possession. Dr. Ho said he would not know. He continuously deferred to the office, saying he is not an expert in that. So that's that. Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Let me see here real quick. Okay, that's that. Just seeing if there's any other updates anywhere else. We saw Brian Enton's update. We've just been reading from Taylor and Lauren Conlon's updates as well. Yeah, still waiting. Still waiting to see if there's any updates. I'm checking. I'm going over to. Nothing yet. Sorry, y'all. I'm just checking a few things. Trying to see if there's any new updates of any kind. Have mercy. Yeah, it kind of sucks because it's not. That's the problem. Is that there's not a whole lot of info. You know what I mean? There's just not a whole lot of info. You're trying to get as much information as you can, but it's like it's very few and far between. Let me see if there's any more tweets by some people. Yeah, nothing so far, y'all. I mean, what I find really crazy is that there are people that his team is literally going out of their way to try to be like, yo, could it possibly be that she turned the knife on herself? It's like, the fact that they're really trying so hard to spin this is, it's just insane to me. I'm just going to be real. I just think it's absolutely insane.
The way I see it is
nothing so far. Let me like, it's interesting because Sloan, hold on. Let me just see Sloan here.
The Kardashian family.
But it's like a compilation thing. Hold on. Let me see something here. Come on, where is it at? All at the end here?
3 days, and there are some disturbing things that I've learned in the David case. I mean, for example, I saw the images of Celeste's body in the bags. I saw her head that was, I don't know if it was decapitated. It didn't even look like a human. It was really just a torso and a head in this bag with the arms cut off, and then a separate bag. Actually, I have some drawings, and I will be doing a deeper dive video on this on the channel, so you guys make sure you have your notifications on because I don't want you guys to miss it, but I'm going to go through some of the images and things that I drew. Like, for example, one of the bags that we were seeing was of a black trash bag. I know it doesn't look black, but it was black, and it had a blue plastic handle on it. Now, in that bag was her arms and the bottom portions of her legs, and it was really disturbing to watch. Actually, watching Celeste's parents The victim here, the 14-year-old who was killed, just weeping over these images was so disturbing. There was also the image of her head and her torso and things like that. More recently, there's been reports about her mom crying, and I saw this firsthand with her grabbing tissues and just really upset because of the disturbing things we've learned today. I mean, for example, we got information on 8 different pieces of DNA. You guys know DNA is big when it comes to crime scenes. The story is that on July 29th, he lured her to his home in the Hollywood Hills. He killed her in his garage using an inflatable pool to collect the blood as he cut her up with a chainsaw. There were many different things that have been recovered in this case. For example, the Tesla that she was left in. Of course, there was DNA recovered there and a bunch of DNA collected in this garage. Let's go through some of the items that I have taken notes on in court. Keep in mind, court's really hard to get into. It's a lottery. Only 10 people get in, and somehow I got in every single day. So I think that's fate. The first item was a blood stain from the vehicle. It was in the Tesla, and it was a 1 septillion times match to Celeste. That is a 1 with 24 zeros after it. If you think about the world, we only have like 9 billion people in the world. So the fact that it's a 1 septillion chance that that was her blood in the Tesla says a lot. There's also that same result from another sample that was taken from the trunk of the Tesla. What I learned when I looked at the images of that they took when they processed the Tesla was that it seemed like obviously most of the body and fluids and things like that were in the front of the Tesla, but it also seemed like David maybe put her body in the very back on the 3rd row in the Tesla because the rear part of it lit up really bright. So I don't know if he put her body in there first and then ended up moving it to the front. We also had garage evidence for, there was like these black mats. So you know those like interlocking black mats? Those were in the garage on top of a brick surface. Those mats had stains and they came up as a match to her blood. There's also a blood stain on a rowing machine that was there. They tested that, and again, it was hers. It was a 1 septillion chance that it was hers. In that same garage, there was a Tesla charger that had a stain. Again, another confirmation. Two green tarps that were located with red stains on it. It was like a green, like a muted green, but then like a red faded blood mark that also tested positive. There was also this bag found, and this bag was a black plastic bag with a bunch of Clorox wipes in there, and those Clorox wipes did test positive for Celeste's blood, but the outside of the bag tested positive for 4 different DNAs. David's DNA, another male's DNA, and 2 female DNAs, but it wasn't Celeste's. So if you want to talk about someone helping David out when it comes to this crime, I mean, why are there multiple DNAs on this bag that has all this trash of cleaning up the blood? Like, did he have friends help him clean it up? Which brings me to the last item, which are those hand wipes, which tested positive. So I've been going through a lot of these different witnesses, and I just did a video where I went through every single one of them, where we're going to go through. Also, wait, I want to show you guys images that I drew today too. So there was this woman named Lisa. She did analysis on the inflatable pool. The inflatable pool was collected. They did not test it for DNA because guess what? The inflatable pool that he used, he stuck it into a washer because they found it. It smelled really good and fresh. They opened it up and had a dryer sheet in it. So after he killed her in that pool, cut up her body, he decided to put it into the washer. We also got some of her clothing from the scene. There was a pair of Skechers socks. It was all very wet and she could not test it, but Skechers socks, a Victoria's Secret thong, there was a Forever 21 tube top, and then there were these leggings. And as you guys can see, there's 2 different pieces here because the legging was actually cut because it appears that he dismembered her body when she had her clothing on. So that is a little bit of what I'm going to talk to you guys about in that deeper dive. So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, maybe, you know, the fact that she was wearing a thong, like it really messes me up. If you really think about it, it's like she had a thong. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God. Did she think that they were going to, like, you know, make up? I mean, you know, and she's 13. You know what I mean? Like, and then the fact that you have he put the kiddie pool in the washing machine. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. Why would he put the kiddie pool in the washing machine? It just doesn't make any earthly sense. I'm sorry. It really doesn't. Like, why would he do that? It's really dumb. It's really dumb. And he still had it. He still had the kiddie pool. He didn't even bother to try to get it thrown out. He didn't try to throw it in the trash and get it, taken up by, the weekly trash. You know what I mean? Not at all. That makes no sense. Tia, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. But it doesn't make sense. It really does not make any earthly sense. It's just frustrating. It's so frustrating how dumb this is. So shout out to Sloan. That was Sloan. And we do have a new video from Lauren Conlon. So let's take a look. It's just so dumb. You know what I mean?
David, preliminary hearing day 4. I'm giving you this update from LAX because I ran out right before lunch. The testimony or the cross-examination of the medical examiner, Dr. Grant Ho, was basically concluding. I'm sorry, he's the deputy medical examiner technically, but I want to go through some things because this morning was extremely, extremely disturbing. It was definitely, again, one of the worst days. But before I go through some of the specific details, I want to just say here that so far, from what I've seen, and maybe something will come out later, but I definitely don't think it's going to, there hasn't been any evidence of a rift between a medical examiner's office, the LAPD, or the DA's office. And I think a lot of us kind of thought that. That's why it had taken so long for Celeste's cause and manner of death to come out. That's why, her autopsy was sealed. I mean, during direct examination, Dr. Ho was actually asked a few questions surrounding this. I mean, the autopsy was performed in September. The report was not conclusive until December. So Marilyn Bednarski, one of David's attorneys, asked, what took so long? And he basically said, I was waiting for the toxicology. I had an idea, but obviously I had to wait until I got this report. Once I got this report, I was certain that my original findings were correct, and here we are. And he also testified that the toxicology, he concluded that had nothing to do with her death. Sorry, I just paused it, and I hope no one's eating around me. Oh, she is, but she has headphones. That's good. Okay. So, and speaking of toxicology, it was inconclusive for methamphetamine. There was a slight amount of ethanol or alcohol, but it was so small that they think that maybe it could have even come from the decomp process, because that tends to happen. And also, we learned the, quote, defense strategy, I guess, besides just poking holes in the LAPD investigation, etc. Marilyn Bednarski asked Dr. Ho if he knew anything about Celeste's history, if he talked to her family about her history. And sorry, I keep stopping and starting if there's an announcement. So just back to Celeste's history, he meant, did you know if there was any history of self-harm, any history of suicide, drug use, etc.? I'm paraphrasing, of course. And then she, got to the whole, so we don't actually know that Celeste wasn't the one holding the weapons. We don't actually know that she, and again, I'm paraphrasing, that she did this to herself or not. And he said no because, you know, the body was so badly decomposed. But when that was insinuated, I think a lot of us were like, whoa, they are going there. I mean, I guess that's their job. They have to have some kind of a defense. And also, you know, the quote or a potential overdose was brought up. And I don't remember, my notes aren't clear enough as to how she brought that up, but it just went back to the whole toxicology just not playing a role whatsoever in her death. So yeah, that was a lot of the defense cross-examination. But to be fair, Dr. Ho answered with the word potentially quite a bit to the prosecution as well. So just going back up, when Beth Silverman had asked how long he believed that Celeste was deceased for, you know, he said weeks. And she said, well, you know, could it have been months? And he said, potentially. And she said, could she have been deceased since April 24th? And he said, potentially. And then he went into additional detail in saying that it's safer for him to say, because of the decomposition process, it's safer for him to say weeks because weeks are contained in months. So he just wants to sort of, you know, cross his T's and dot his I's. And I will also say there was no real, I guess, like change in his demeanor when he was talking to the prosecution and to the defense, you know, at all. He was just very straightforward here. But yes, he also talked to Beth Silverman about the sharp force injury to her body. And something shocking he also said was that technically he couldn't determine whether or not she was dismembered before or after death because of the decomp process. But I'm just, you know, putting that out there so you guys know everything. But no, he went into the fact that the sharp force injuries were fatal because, you know, the liver is a major organ, and also the depth of the injury to the right side of the chest. He also said, you know, some of the measurements with the depths could be off because with decomp, you know, your organs shrink. And this is also why I think she was 71 pounds. And they kind of talked about that during cross-examination as well. Like, this weight was not her actual weight. This was after the decomp process. And I mean, the photos we saw were just horrendous. I mean, they were just covered in insects and maggots and liquid, and this quote skin slippage on just the extremities they were a lot. And as usual, David's just watching. I don't understand that. I just don't. I don't. It was so morbid. And thank goodness when I was leaving for the airport, I did see Celeste's family in the hallway with her translator. Thank God. Let me just see what else. Oh, he also testified that the odor was so strong he could smell it from way down the hall when the autopsy room was, over that way. So Beth Silverman kept trying to get him to say that the pattern of the dismemberment was consistent with a saw, and he kept saying potentially. She kept saying, well, you use a saw to cut through bone and to cut through rib and all this stuff. And he said, yes, because, only a scalpel or a knife can cut through tissue. So she just, kept focusing on that. And she also said, is it possible that a saw was used, at 2 different times to dismember her lower extremities or, whatever? And he said, yeah, potentially. It may not have happened all at once, but he just could not conclude because of the body's decomp process. However, it was very clear her cause and manner of death, they were homicide by the 2 sharp force injuries. So I think that's the most important thing here, and just the fact that there was no rift. I mean, they just needed all of the testing done. He also identified some linear abrasions on the back of Celeste's right hand, which, nobody brought this up as, I guess, a defensive wound or anything like that, because I guess the back of your right hand would be this, But no, I was surprised that didn't come up, unless it came up in the last 15 minutes and I left. But Beth Silverman did pose a hypothetical question about the blue fragments that were embedded in, let's say, her knee, for example, the severed part of her knee. She gave this phrasing that was like, well, if a victim had been placed in a blue inflatable pool after being killed because they wanted to contain the blood while the body was dismembered with a chainsaw, what scenario would that scenario be consistent, with the blue fragments being embedded in her body? And obviously there was like an objection, leading, lacking foundation, etc. And Judge Almeido's like, overruled. I was like, oh, okay. And then Dr. Ho responded, possibly. There was also something mentioned about a gunshot, but or a certain injury could be consistent with a gunshot. He said yes, but also obviously there were no bullets found. And he said this also could be a sharp force injury as well, because again, the body was so badly decomposed. Another thing that was mentioned, Silverman had asked how long it would take for someone to bleed to death from the chest injury as well as the liver injury, to which he said, basically minutes. And she said, well, could it take an hour? And he said, well, minutes are within an hour, so yes. So he couldn't really talk about the exact time frame. And this also kind of came up with the cross-examination as well. I was looking at some of Taylor's notes that she just sent me. And, I think the defense was just trying to say, well, when you say bleed out, it doesn't mean necessarily bleeding out all over the floor. It could mean internally, etc. So anyway, we are going to have one story filed today for LA Mag. So we're going to have that done at the end of the day. I'm going to update the first half and Taylor will update the second. But I'm thinking it'll end today, maybe, with Detective Farrell on the stand, who is one of the other lead detectives with Detective Byers. But Taylor will have all the updates later today, so make sure you look out for her coverage as well.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all that we've covered from the first half of the day is basically what she just reiterated all over again, which I get. I mean, she, and of course, huge shout out to Lauren Conlon and all of her hard work. To be really, really honest, they've been doing some really, really good coverage.
David, preliminary hearing.
Let me just turn that off, make sure it's off. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody. At the end of the day, guys, I mean, they should be done today. My assumption is they're going to be done today. He did this. How did he do it? We have an idea of what he did or how he did it, but we don't know everything yet. The trial hasn't even happened yet, and this man is guilty as all get out. He has a lot of explaining to do, and I'm going to be real. I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. This trial is going to be, it's going to be even more shocking because no matter what, this judge is not going to not do this trial. There's enough evidence to put this man already behind bars already. The court of public opinion has already made their decision. There's no way that some other dude did it. There's no other way. He did this. There's too many other things where it's like, why didn't you call 911? Why didn't you report her being taken apart? Why didn't you report her being viciously attacked if you had nothing to do with it? You see what I'm saying? There are too many questions that need to be answered. And I'm hoping here very soon we get an answer. I hope so. I really hope so. But I mean, I think that the truth and more information is going to come out in this trial. Trust and believe this trial, when it does happen, because it's only a matter of time, now it's just about scheduling it, is going to be a bombshell. And if it goes to trial very, very soon, I'm going to try my damnedest to be out there. But if it ends up being like a lottery type of thing, I don't know. I don't know if I want to risk it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a gamble if I get in today. It's a gamble if I get in the next day. It's a gamble if I get in any day. I don't know about that. But if they don't do the lottery for this next time. I'm hoping for the actual trial. I'm hoping that I can get out there and cover it, be out there and get some coverage. Because this is a very fascinating and shocking and heartbreaking trial. And I just want to see this man go down. I think a lot of us want to see this man go down, right? But like I said, this defense team is grasping at straws. They are desperate, but they have nothing. They don't even have a leg to stand on when it comes to this case. This man's going down, and we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it happen in 4K, or we're going to watch it through tweets and updates. Now, we don't know what's going to happen when they adjourn for the day. They may be done for good, and then the judge is going to be like, yeah, so when are you guys ready for trial? When are we going to get this thing going? If that's the case, then it's done today. But there may be stuff that they need to present for Monday. So we might be doing more coverage starting Monday. You never know. So we'll just have to keep an eye on all that, right? But I am going to wrap up for the day, all right? But I plan on possibly coming back this evening. There's a lot that we need to talk about, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on outside of David, outside of the D4VD case that we need to talk about. Please, by all means, I just did 2 videos. There's been 2 interesting videos that popped off, or I made 2 interesting videos that just popped off revolving around Nolan Wells. If you haven't seen those yet, I highly recommend you go check out the one I just pinned to the bottom of the chat. And then there's another one that I did this first thing this morning, where there's this new video that's circulating all over the internets, and everybody's tripping about it. Don't know if it's real or not. I'd like to get your opinion on it too. So go check that one out too. All right. 2 new videos this morning. Like I said, we've been going hard in the paint. We're going to continue going hard in the paint because there's a lot to talk about, y'all. And I probably have a short coming out to you guys in just a little bit once we get done with this show. So that is the show. What the heck? That is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Like I said, if there's new updates with this, we are going to talk about it. We will talk about it. Trust. We will. Okay? Because there's still now until the end of the day in court. And I'm sure there's going to be some new shocking revelations. So be sure to tune in and be a part of that. Okay? But please do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that follow button, please, and thank you. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well, okay? Because there's going to be clips and stuff from this show even going over there. There's a bunch of stuff. I'm behind. I got to put up some stuff over there very, very soon. So make sure you are subscribed to both channels. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Check it out. PascalMerch.com. Check it out. We got some really great stuff over there, okay? We'll be talking to you soon, guys. Have a great Friday. Hopefully it's a wonderful one for you. Make it dope. Do something. Go touch grass. Go get out in the sun. See nature. Whatever you need to do. Okay? But then come right back when I go live again. All right? Have a blessed one, guys. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.